Gcina Dlala's family says she submitted a medical certificate but was allegedly issued with a warning instead of receiving support. In an internal notice, contract describes Dlala's death as sudden and unexpected. The notice sent to contract staff, the company denies any allegations that it prohibited Dlala from leaving the head office or receiving any medical assistance. They say there was no prior indication she was unwell when she arrived at work. However, when she did express ill health, she did not request to leave work or for sick leave. They regard the claims as false, insisting the narrative has now put staff at risk, with some employees allegedly receiving death threats. Cartrack alleges its highly trained first responders immediately attended to the scene, despite claims by some staffers that these responders lack sufficient training. The entity has not yet formally replied to EWN's list of questions, including questions on allegations they took time to call paramedics. Eyewitness News.
A showdown is expected in Parliament today, where City of Johannesburg executives are expected to face off with the Standing Committee on Public Accounts over the city's dire finances. This follows last week's meeting with the Auditor General's office, which has expressed concern about billions of rands in lost revenue for water and electricity, including under expenditure on infrastructure and maintenance. Last week, the city tabled its budget for the new financial year, but questions have been raised about whether it will be able to collect the revenue needed to cover the 97.1 billion rand expenditure. Lindsay Tentlinger takes a look.
As the DA threatens legal action against the finance minister over what it believes to be another unfunded budget tabled by the City of Johannesburg, the party says it will use today's meeting to grill Mayor Dada Morero about the council's shambolic finances. Rise Mzansi leader and Scopa chairperson Zongezo Zibi, whose party is fielding a mayoral candidate for the city in its first local government election, says wholesale political leadership change is needed in the country's biggest metro to appoint the right administrators.
You need people who are sufficiently level-headed to make the kind of decisions worthy of a 100 billion rand organization. And we've had Palugas being mayor for too long.
Last week, the AG's office noted a 9.5 billion rand write-off by the city for debt it was unable to recover in the 2024-25 financial year, and said unfunded budgets would likely continue leading to irregular expenditure. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And the director of the Desmond Tutu HIV Centre, Professor Linda Gale Becker, has warned members of the public that regular testing remains essential when using the new HIV prevention drug. The twice yearly or yearly injectable lenacapavir was rolled out yesterday at 22 sites in Cape Town. This comes after the official rollout by President Cyril Ramaphosa last week. Becker says in 2 trials involving about 9,000 participants, 4 people contracted HIV, with 1 linked to a missed dose and the others classified as a result of vaccine failure. She adds lenacapavir remains the most effective prevention option on the market, with an efficacy rate of over 96%.
Unfortunately, like so many, even vaccines we know aren't entirely protective, which is what brings that protection level down a little bit. And it does raise questions of whether, we do still want to support condoms and other methods of prevention wherever possible.
Gold is trading at $4,327.96 an ounce. The rand is at 16.47 to the dollar, 21.97 to the pound, 19.1 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $93.47 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the M1 South. This is between Greyston Drive and Collett Drive. That's due to roadworks there. There's also queuing traffic on the N1 North between the Baklu interchange and Allendale Road. That's due to an earlier accident. We're also seeing delays on the N3 North between Vincent Chabalala Road and the Baklu interchange.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 21 and 22 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Recently released court papers show that EFF leader Julius Malema may have colluded with tainted crime intelligence boss Firoz Khan to remove a senior general from the police service.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an energy that connects us all.
That's what makes this one so special.
In 702, Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
7 minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. It's great to have you with us here on 702. I trust you're well this morning. The 702 open line starts now on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. So, did you see that the ANC has appointed Dada Morero, who's the mayor of Johannesburg, as, wait for it, the party's local government intervention convener for Gauteng? The ANC believes that Dada Morero, as part of this intervention subcommittee, can help struggling municipalities in the province. So, maybe let me explain to you what this local government intervention subcommittee's mandate is, right? So, they are going to oversee the turnaround strategies and political oversight in struggling municipalities. So this is basically a team of experts, like people who are really good, that are going to help struggling municipalities. Dada Morero is on that team. So obviously when I first saw this, I honestly thought, wait, it can't be. And I'm not saying that Johannesburg mayor is the worst we've ever had, but he's also not the best we've ever had, considering what the city is going through and the concerns that have been raised about this city, its governance, its finances. So I thought, the ANC surely can't be serious. I mean, imagine the ANC appointing, let's say, Sisisi Tolashe, to be part of a subcommittee that helps with ethical governance and ethical leadership in the ANC. Would that make sense? Guys, I'm not trying to be weird, but the mandate of this subcommittee that Dada Morero is part of is to stabilize governance, is to fix basic service delivery, and prepare municipalities for the upcoming local government elections. Dada Morero himself is struggling in his own metro to fulfill this very mandate. And now he's expected to help other municipalities do it? What do you think of this move by the ANC? I think it's weird, but maybe you see it differently. Help me out here. Does it make sense to you? Or maybe you think Dada Morero has been the best mayor who was able to stabilize things in the city and deserves to go help other municipalities? Or is this the way of just giving him a job because he's on his way out? I don't know. I'm also trying to make sense of this. I see the ANC spokesperson, Mahlengi Pengu, has spoken to News 24 and justified this decision of the ANC and told News 24 that Dada Morero has been a successful mayor of Johannesburg. Mahlengi Pengu also said, and I quote here, "Morero has turned Johannesburg around. The ANC wants to ensure his skills are put in good use." End quote. That's what the ANC says. They clearly don't believe that Dada Morero has failed in his role as mayor of Johannesburg. Which then brings me to this question. Why was the president then so disappointed in the poor state of the city when he came over here for a visit, citing service delivery failures, crumbling infrastructure, and financial mismanagement? If Dada Morero is so great at his job, why was the president so utterly disappointed? Remember when he came here earlier this year?
I found the city filthy. The city was not clean. There was rubbish all over the show. I got out of the car and even spoke to the police officers. And I said to them, this city looks torn. Ka Sesotho re re e tabogile. ngaruvenda riri yokeruwa idabukile, and they agreed. And it then infused in me a view and a determination that we've got to do something to turn this city around, because it does not belong where it is and what it looks like. It is this that we must now do, work together to ensure that the inner city is well primed to be rejuvenated, and that we should make it attractive for new investment and jobs.
That's what the president said, and this was late last year, not early this year. I'll bring in Mahlengi Pengu in the next couple of minutes just to get a sense of what the rationale is behind this decision. But the city, even when the president came to visit here, they even asked the presidency for a team of experts to help them improve and revive governance here, because they're clearly not getting it right. They asked for a presidential intervention. But also, if the ANC believes Dada Morero has been amazing at this job and stabilized the city's finances and books, then why did Treasury recently warn in a letter of severe financial distress? Because the city's creditors' book, I think, was sitting at 25 billion rand versus the cash of about 3.9 billion rand. And wasn't it last month when Treasury ordered an immediate halt to a 10 million rand wage deal and found that the adjustment budget in the city was unfunded? Wasn't it the finance minister that also flagged non-compliance with the Municipal Finance Management Act and threatened to withhold the city's July equitable share? That's how bad things are. I mean, the AG has also raised concerns. I don't want to go there. But the ANC wants us to believe the mayor of Johannesburg has done an amazing job and deserves to be a convener to other municipalities to help them stabilize governance and finances. Interesting, I tell you. What do you think? Does it make sense to you? Give me a call on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. Also on the open line this morning, I want us to interrogate a possible intervention to this anti-illegal foreigner sentiment. Do you think an amnesty of sorts or a waiver of sorts, I don't know, you can call it whatever, do you think it could help? So we say to people that are here illegally, just raise your hand. If you are here illegally, raise your hand, come join us. Not come join us. Come to our offices and we will facilitate your return to your own country. Because I see now Nigeria is repatriating hundreds of citizens from South Africa. Over 1,000 Nigerians apparently have registered for voluntary return. Remember last week the Malawian government also repatriated, I think, about 150 of its citizens from South Africa. The Border Management Authority has confirmed the repatriation of 663 Ghanaian nationals from South Africa to Ghana. Was it this past weekend? But also it happened, I think, about 3 weeks or so ago. So remember the Border Management Authority said several of those returning had overstayed their visas. A News 24 report states that South African authorities have agreed to waive penalties for visa regulations such as overstays through individuals facing criminal charges. Those won't be eligible to leave. So, but if you have overstayed or you were here, you didn't have the right papers, they're going to let you leave unless you're facing criminal charges. So I'm asking you if you think this would work, or does this legitimize the anti-immigrants protests that we have seen? Is this the route that South Africa should be taking by working with these foreign governments to root out those with visa violations? Let me know what you think. At 10 o'clock, we are going to have a conversation with the acting head of the SIU, Leonard Lekgetho. There's lots to discuss with him, including that damning interim report by the SIU exposing organized syndicates involving Home Affairs officials, intermediaries, and foreign nationals working together to manipulate immigration processes through fraudulent documents. We'll also talk about the Tembisa corruption. We'll have a chat about municipal corruption as well. At 11 o'clock, we do our World of Work feature. Today, we're discussing the downside of getting a promotion. And then we wrap up the show at 11:30 with our health and wellness feature. Today we'll be discussing the art of staying well this winter with Dr. Michael Moore. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856
92.7
and 106 FM.
All right, let's go straight to your calls. Umboholu, you're calling us from Johannesburg. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. Good morning to your listeners.
Hi, Umboholu. Go ahead.
Clement, you mentioned something that is so critical that Joburg residents need to be alive to. You're speaking to the financial crisis and the state of neglect of the city for a very long time. And yet here the ANC in Johannesburg is telling us that the very best of the best is it's this mayor who has let down residents over an extended period of time. You spoke about how the Auditor General has raised alarms on the threat of going into wasteful and fruitless expenditure in the billions. We are speaking about a budget that has recently been passed by its Deputy Mayor, MMC of Finance, Loyiso Masuku, a budget that was passed having failed to meet the standards of the Municipal Financial Management Act. There are various areas of neglect that this particular government has let us down. And I'm speaking to you now as, wearing the hat of Action SA Joburg mayoral candidate. I'm also speaking as a resident. But there's a serious conversation that the black middle class needs to start having amongst themselves about who exactly they will put the mandate behind to govern the city of Johannesburg. And that is what I wanted to contribute to the open line.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Umaholo, calling us from Johannesburg. Yeah, what do you make? That's essentially it, as Umaholo says. The ANC, Fikile Mbalula says this man is the best, is one of the best of the best. And that's why we're going to send him out to other municipalities that are struggling to sort of help stabilize things there. I mean, he's struggling to stabilize things here. That's why the president expressed shock and disappointment late last year. That's why Treasury has had to intervene. That's why the Auditor General has raised concerns. What does that communicate about this organization? Are they serious about winning your votes in this upcoming local government elections? When they say the man who seemingly is struggling here in the city of Johannesburg is the best to take out there, to put out and say, oh, we're helping other municipalities as well. Bonnie, you calling us from Senton. What do you want to say about these immigration waivers? Could they work?
Clement,
Sharp, man, go ahead.
Clement, I personally don't think the amnesty, whatever, is going to work. Even these repatriations that we are doing now, we are just, these governments are giving the people free transport back home to visit for a while. We see this during the festive, we see this around Easter. Most of them are going to come back. If they do raise their head and say, I want to go home, that's because they probably have not been home for a while and they just want to go and visit. But I mean, it would have been, if people really wanted to go home, they wouldn't have waited for their governments to say, let's bring you home. They would have been the ones to put pressure on their government.
Well, some of them are feeling the pressure now, Bonnie, because there's obviously some that are scared that they may be victims of violence. So they thought, let me just leave. But I think the Border Management Authority, and I'll check and confirm this, but I think they indicated when Ghana sent the plane to take some of its citizens here, I think the Border Management Authority said the people who were here illegally and didn't have the right papers, they are going to be sanctioned. So maybe you ban them for about, 7 years, 10 years from entering South Africa again. So then that becomes a sanction.
You do sanction them, but they were here illegally in the first place. So what makes us think they're not going to come here illegally again?
I hear you, Bonnie. But also let's remember, guys, this is so complex because when you talk about illegality, there are certain people who are here who have been trying to get, and I'm not saying that's everyone, but there are certain people who have been trying to get the right papers from Home Affairs. But the system is so corrupted that they're expected to pay thousands of rands before they can get those papers, before they can be assisted. And that is the reality that some of the foreign nationals who are here, and maybe they legitimately needed some, whether it's asylum, whether it's some form of a visa that they need to be here, they are struggling to get that because of the corruption that's in the system. That doesn't justify, of course. I'm not saying then we must just accept that they're here illegally because there's corruption as Home Affairs. I'm saying let's also reflect on our own systems. What is not working with our systems? How do we fix it? Because this is not as simple as whoever is out there hasn't gotten their right papers, then has not tried to do the right thing. So it's a bit tricky. But yeah, let me know what you think. These waivers, do you think they could work? After the break, I'm going to bring in Mahlengi Bengu, who's the spokesperson of the ANC. It's 23 after 9.
Your friend's cell phone just got stolen. Now they're using yours to find out if it was covered outside of their home. Turns out, it wasn't. Meanwhile, Santam covers your cell phone anywhere, along with your laptop and smartwatch. Even your bicycle would be covered, if you could ride one. You insure it nice, not twice. Get cover for your valuables online or call 0860 444 444 to get a quote. Santam, this is freedom. Santam is an authorized FSP, a licensed non-life insurer and a controlling company for its group companies.
When it comes to protecting your workforce, trust the workwear brand that has been protecting workers for over 150 years, Sweetall. Sweetall has overalls and uniform solutions for every industry, so your team is safe, comfortable, and ready to tackle any challenge. Visit our Boksburg showroom, shop A1 Atlas Road, Westwood, Boksburg, or go to sweetall.com today. Sweetall, we never let you down. Superior protective workwear since 1871.
Just Andalex it.
Do you have a sore throat? Andalex C Oral Rinse and Spray provides targeted relief from 1 minute that lasts up to 4 hours. It reduces pain and inflammation while numbing the affected areas. It also kills viruses and bacteria that cause sore throats to help prevent serious throat infections. Andalex, South Africa's #1 choice for sore mouth and throats. For more information, speak to your healthcare professional.
Just Andalex it.
Your boss noticed. Your ex noticed. The neighbors definitely noticed. Because some cars say, I rented a car. And some cars say, I rented the car. Sani Sixt Rent a Car. Premium rentals. For people who don't settle. Choose the right car. Rent Sani Sixt on sani.co.za.
What if the problem you faced became the business that changed everything? That's what Nedbank Business Ignite on 702 is all about. With this year's theme, My Pain, My Purpose, My Solution. We're calling on small businesses that turned real challenges into powerful ideas. You could win 200,000 Rand in cash, plus mentorship, business support, and tools to help you grow sustainably. Enter the Nedbank Business Ignite on 702 now at primemediaplus.com or igniteyourbusiness.co.za. See money differently. Nedbank, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
25 minutes after 9 o'clock. I want to bring in Mahlengi Bengu now, who speaks on behalf of the African National Congress, just to get some more clarity on this conversation we're having this morning around Dada Morero's appointment as the party's local government intervention convener for Gauteng. Mahlengi, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, Clemens, and good morning to 702 Land.
Why did the ANC take this decision to appoint Dada Morero as the local government intervention convener for Gauteng?
Well, I was actually going to immediately retort and say, why not? But, because he had really acquitted himself quite well in many respects, Clemens and Dada. And, if you look at the work that he's been doing in Gauteng, in Johannesburg particularly, you can tell that he's is really, really showed up for Joburg. We may not all see that, but we know for sure that is really just done a lot of great work in the past while. And when I say the past while, I'm just talking about the past few months. He's shown up. He's shown up.
Do you have any examples, Mahlengi, of the great work that he's done? Because, I mean, this subcommittee that he is part of is, their mandate is to stabilize governance, fix basic service delivery, prepare municipalities for the local government elections. My argument to you, which I'll make to you, is that I don't think he's been able to stabilize governance in the city. I don't think he's been able to really effectively fix service delivery. But maybe help me understand some of the examples that as the ANC you've looked at and you thought, this makes this man the perfect candidate to be part of this team of people that are going to help struggling municipalities.
No, well, I do believe that I think the ANC, as the organization, does believe that, Dada has acquitted himself quite well, in particularly, as part of the local government intervention. You would have seen that some of the work that he's been doing in terms of what we call high impact service delivery work that he's been doing. And I think there are so many people that walk around the streets of Johannesburg and they say, well, we haven't seen a Joburg such as this one.
What? Wait, Madeleine. Are you saying there are people who what? Are you saying people are really impressed with the service delivery in Joburg and they walk around and they say, I've never seen a Johannesburg like this?
Yeah, no, I think there are several people actually.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know why you would find this funny.
No, I wasn't funny. I was just wanting to make sure because I guess my experience is when I take calls on the show, it's very seldom that I'll hear like someone who's from the city of Johannesburg say, oh my God, I've never seen a city like this. I think there's been so many complaints, which then brings me to this point, Mahlengi, that if Dada Morero has been so amazing at his job, why did the president then express such disappointment late last year when he visited this province? Because he wasn't happy about the poor state of the city when he came over here. He cited service delivery failures. He cited crumbling infrastructure. He said financial mismanagement was a big problem.
Well, the president expressed what the president expressed at the time when he did. And I think fast forward later on, he basically said, actually affirmed Dada Morero's leadership of the city. I hope you do recall that as well.
Okay, I don't recall that. What did he say? Dada Morero is a great mayor? I don't remember him saying that. I just remember him saying this. I'm not happy with this city. You guys need to do better.
No, well, I don't think that he basically went as far as saying is a great mayor. No, but I do recall the president saying, Dada is working hard in Johannesburg.
Yeah, but you can work hard, but you're not really doing a good job. There are many people who work hard, but they're not doing a good job. Fundamentally, what I'm saying is the president was disappointed. Was he not?
Well, no, I don't think so. Clemens. I recall the president basically affirming Dada. And this is not to say is that is blemish free or problem free. I don't think so. I don't think that's the conversation me and you are trying to have right now. All I'm trying to put across though is that I think is essentially that he's worked very hard. He's worked his way up, seriously, and I think that is one of those members of the ANC that ought to be that ought to be affirmed.
Yeah, just lastly, because I'm out of time, Mahlengi, are you aware that Treasury wrote a letter to the city of Johannesburg complaining about severe financial distress? They also ordered an immediate halt of that 10 million rand wage deal and found that the adjustment budget was unfunded. Are you aware that they also flagged non-compliance with the Municipal Finance Management Act and even threatened to withhold the city's July equitable share trachete? And that's how bad things are. The AG has also raised some concerns. Are you aware of that? Because for me, those are signs of a city that is not properly governed.
I'm very much aware of that, Clemens. I'm very much aware of that, and I don't think that that can be apportioned to Dada Morero alone as a singular person. I don't think so. I think that there are legacy matters that are involved here.
Okay. Mahlengi Pengu, let me thank you for making time for us. ANC spokesperson. It's 9:33. What do you think? Siso, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Recently released court papers show EFF leader Julius Malema may have colluded with tainted crime intelligence boss Firoz Khan to remove a senior general from the police service. In return, Khan provided Malema with confidential information. Details of the questionable relationship between Malema and Khan are contained in an affidavit released by Madlanga Commission investigator Tsepo Nyatlo. Vehicle tracking company CarTrack has denied allegations that an employee who died at its Rosebank offices was prevented from going home after falling ill. Tina Dladla died over the weekend after reportedly informing her superior that she was unwell. Her family and colleagues, who have asked to remain anonymous citing fears of victimization, claim the company insisted she continues working, allegedly offering the company her to buy pain medication instead. And ChatGPT maker OpenAI has taken the first step towards going public. This comes a week after arch-rival Anthropic announced its own filing as both companies look to raise massive sums needed to expand. In a social media post, OpenAI had confidentially submitted a registration statement to U.S. security regulators but had not decided on timing yet for any potential debut. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Traveling on the N3 North, we've got heavy traffic volumes. This is between Van Buren Road and the Gilulies interchange. There's also queuing traffic on the N12 West between Edenville Road and the Gilulies interchange. While heading towards Sunning Hill, do expect heavy traffic volumes on the N3 North between Vincent Magwenya Road and the Baku interchange. That's due to an accident right after Marlborough Drive, and then there's also roadworks along the same route. So please be patient. If you're traveling along this route, you can try and use the Mark 1 North through Sandton. While traveling on the N1 North in the Sunning Hill area, queuing traffic between Rivonia Road and the Baku interchange, as well as the Baku interchange and Islandale Road. The N1 North there is backed up as well due to an earlier accident. Please be on the lookout there and approach with care. Otherwise, if you're heading towards Amalgam, there's queuing traffic on the M2 West. That's between the Crown interchange and Main Reef Road. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
What is special about this year's 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk is that we actually get to experience the city in a completely different way. So often the city is seen in a negative light, and I feel like the Walk the Talk is going to be breathing new life into the city with people falling in love with it again. You must definitely take part in this year's Walk the Talk because, of course, we often engage across from one another via via the phone, via the WhatsApp line, but this time we actually get to see each other in person, and it is always such a beautiful experience. This year, I am eyeing the 5 kilometer because I saw that route and I said, this should be interesting, but I'll see. I might challenge myself. Let's see. To enter the 702 Josie, My Josie Walk the Talk, go to primemediaplus.com or download the app. I'm so excited. Can't wait to see you there.
Let's count backward. 5. Insurance. 4. Pineapple. 3. Insurance. 2. Pineapple. 1. You're under. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
I'm Samela Kelpoy, an actress and a mum. Do you know what's in your cupboard? I've been trying to be intentional about the food I buy and keep in my cupboard. Unhealthy packaged foods can lead to hypertension, heart disease, and diabetes. Support front-of-package warning labels on unhealthy packaged foods, high in saturated fat, sugar, and salt. Join me. Sign the petition on healer.org. That's HEALA.org.
Most people see waste as something to throw away, but what if it could create jobs, unlock new business opportunities, even help grow the economy? This Thursday, 702 is taking you where industry leaders, innovators, and government are exploring practical ways to turn underutilized resources into economic value while reducing environmental impact. Catch this show live from the Beechwood Hotel for the Gauteng Industrial Symbiosis Program Business Opportunity Workshop, hosted by the National Cleaner Production Center in partnership with the Gauteng Department of Environment. The workshop will facilitate real-time collaboration between companies to exchange underutilized resources, plus showcase emerging green economy trends. It will further demonstrate how collaboration across industry value chains can simultaneously unlock economic value while positioning Gauteng as the forefront of sustainable industrial development. Don't miss this show live from the Gauteng Industrial Symbiosis Program Business Opportunity Workshop this Thursday, brought to you by the Gauteng Department of Environment on 702.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
20 minutes before 10 o'clock. It's the 702 open line. I would like to know from you what you make of what Mahlengi Bengu told us just before the headlines. My goodness. I don't know. I think she even struggled to tell us what Dada Morero has been able to do. But I suppose what shocked me the most, and I really didn't mean to chuckle there, but it's when she claimed that a lot of, or several people in the city of Johannesburg, when they walk around the city, they're impressed with the service delivery and they say, we've never seen Joburg like this. Can some of those people call us on 011-883-0702? If you're one of those that Mahlengi is referring to, you've walked around and you've been so impressed with the city of Johannesburg, because what I've gotten from you as listeners is complaints about service delivery. What we've gotten from Treasury is complaints about lack of proper governance. What we have gotten from the Auditor General are complaints about how things are done here. What we've gotten from the President when he came to visit the city was sheer disappointment. That's what he expressed about the poor state of the city. So if there are people out there who are so impressed with the work of Dada Morero that they go around and they say, I've never seen Joburg like this, please give us a call so that we can also hear from you, because I'm a little confused. Let's go to your WhatsApps.
Oh, Clement. What a joke. What a joke. I can't believe this spokesperson is praising Dada Morero. Johannesburg is a mess, and I don't think anyone in their right mind is happy with the state of that city. Yeah, ANC is very delusional. Good luck to the residents of Johannesburg. Me as a visitor who comes there often and who travels the country, Johannesburg is just one city that I just don't enjoy being in. Yeah, Eddie from Centurion.
Hi, Clement. Phone in Boxbeck. Great show as always. But what was Mahlengi saying? What was she saying actually? Yo, oh, yeah, how we are led, Shem. Ah, what a disaster! What a disaster! Oh,
Honestly, I brought in Mahlengi because I thought maybe there's gonna be an explanation that's gonna make sense. You know, like, oh, here's a reason why we appointed Dada Morero to be part of this team of experts, really, that are going to go and help other struggling municipalities. Because as I've outlined to you, what Treasury said, what the AG said, what the President said, what the citizens of this city are saying, that completely contradicts this position that the ANC has taken on Dada Morero. And as I've said, I don't think it's the worst we've ever had. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I also don't think it's the best we've ever had. Simpiwe, you are calling from...
Joburg.
Doesn't say where. Oh, Johannesburg. Go ahead, my brother.
Yeah. And I'm calling on a card. But I just wanted to say, Marshalltown is very clean. The problem is near Bree, moving towards Hillbrow. That side remains untouched. I think it's changed. So I feel like it's because it's always been cleaner on the side of Marshalltown, Gandhi Square. They are not touching where the problem is. So I don't think she's accurate in saying that the mayor has made an improvement in Joburg.
Okay, Simpiwe in Johannesburg. Thank you. Mpo, you're in Newlands. What are your thoughts? Hi.
Clement, if Mahlengi wants, I can drive her around Joburg. I'm an e-hailing driver. I do about 200 to 300 kilometers driving around Joburg every 2 days or every day, Clement. Joburg is I'm parked in front of City Park.
Oh, we've just lost that. Let's try see if we can get him back on the line. Stephen, you're in Centurion. Let's start with Freedom, in fact, who is in Johannesburg. Freedom, what are your thoughts? Hi.
Hi, Mr. Clement. No, I just want to say that it's unfortunately he has to be a black South African person. You know what we have gone through under the ANC, from AIDS denialist. What they say back now, they don't listen to the black South African. Marikana, we know what happened. Now you say foreigners. We say it as well, the South African. In fact, I'm the member of the EFF. We say that the guys is not about only the job, the crime, the drugs, the visas, and the passport that are fakes, that they're making and damage the whole entire world. You see, because they make us now to have a problem. Look at Hillbrow. Have you been in Hillbrow, Mr. Clement? Have you been in Berea? Have you been in Orange Grove? Have you been in Broma? Have you been in Bedford? Have you been in GP? Have you been in those places and see what the mess? You can't speak. You can't say you are in Johannesburg when you are in those areas. It's like you are in an African country.
Yeah.
And the 30th of June, unfortunately, the president, the ANC is like is in denial again. They think that is whereby we say that this is a deadline. That is the starting of the things. That is whereby now, if the country will go to a civil war, and if the South African government think that the only solution will be the soldiers, will be the prison, will be open up the hospitals for casualties. Unfortunately, he messed around in this time. We are sick. We are tired. Who can listen? Why is only Trump who can listen only to his citizens? Because Trump took only, how many, I think about less than 100 days to clean the whole entire America and say that deport everyone who's a criminal who came here saying that they look for the job or asylum, and he deport all of them.
And you know there are some Americans that have been killed through that process, Freedom.
Pardon?
Do you know that there are Americans who are not even foreigners who were killed through the process of that deportation when Trump was using ICE?
Because they are fighting with ICE. It's whereby they were fighting with ICE to say that. What happened is that I have been there in America for 3 years, Mr. Clement. I saw there are people, there are NGOs who are saying that, no, these people, they have nothing. We can't take criminals and deport them to the countries that are ungovernable. They are right. We need to feed the criminals. We need to give them the houses. I was there, Clement. I know what I'm talking about. So we need those guys to give them the second chance. If they have done, they call those criminals, maybe it's a small crime. If you are there, come on, you can't do that. If a person came illegally in America, they give you go to interview, they test you, and they ask you, have you ever criminal records? And then if they find that you lied to the interview, they will take you, they will deport you back. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but also even in America, there are people that are just not on their systems who are there illegally. I'm not taking away from your concerns, Freedom. I'm just saying that I don't know if that's a fair comparison between what's happening here and what the U.S. President has done. I mean, it's been a disaster, his deportation policies and strategies. That's why he's even fired the minister who was responsible even for ICE agents. He fired her because that minister kept on coming out publicly and lying about how even American citizens themselves were killed. Thank goodness we were able to see it on video because those were recorded. And that's why even Trump himself fired the very minister that he put responsible for ensuring that they clean out America in as far as illegal immigration is concerned. So I'm not sure you've been following clearly the inefficiencies in that process. But in as far as the 30th of March is concerned, I hope you're not inciting violence, because I really think that there are people who legitimately want to see government do something. And I don't think that that needs to be poisoned by people who are baying for blood or who are hoping that there's going to be a civil war. There are people who have marched, who've been calling on government to do something about the issue of illegal immigration, and they're raising legitimate concerns. That's why the president addressed the nation on Sunday. And I hope that their legitimate concerns are not going to be poisoned by people who are now talking about civil wars and hospitals being full with people that are going to be shot by the police, or there's going to be violence. I hope that's not where we're going to get to, because then that takes away from the legitimacy of the concerns that have been raised, which government must respond to. It's 11 minutes before 10.
Africa Milani. Weekday mornings, 4 to 6.
From your inquiries and perhaps anecdotal conversations, how much of a factor do you think illegal migration issues are going to play in the upcoming local government elections?
Not much. All this has to do with the timing. If what we currently see builds up to continues at the same rate, then definitely that will have a huge impact. Remember, immigration shapes the mood, whereas service delivery issues still determine how people vote.
Professor Setua Matebesi.
Africa Milani. 4 to 6 on 702.
Every great business starts with a problem. You may have experienced even yourself. Nedbank Business Ignite 2026 is looking for entrepreneurs who've turned that pain into purpose and build solutions that truly make a difference. So if your business is generating between 1 million rand and 20 million rand, you could get the funding, mentorship, support you need to grow with Nedbank as your partner, plus access to Simply Biz to help you scale sustainably. So if you're solving real problems and ready to take your business further, visit igniteyourbusiness.co.za or primemediaplus.com and enter today.
A bigger and better national lottery is here. Live draws are back. Play at participating retailers, banking apps, and online. The National Lottery. More plays, more chances, more millions. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The National Lottery is officially operated by Sizakai.
You know when your people are giving their best. Not because they're pushed or pressured, but because they feel supported. And support is making sure they're covered. So if something happens, they can get the care they need. FlexiCare Health Insurance makes it simple for every business to protect their people with affordable health cover. You care, we cover. For a tailored FlexiCare quote, speak to your financial advisor today. FlexiCare is underwritten by ANG, a licensed non-life insurer and FSP, and administered by Discovery Health, a licensed FSP.
Your voice. Your station. Your open line. Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela on 702.
9 minutes before 10 o'clock. Let's start with you, Stephen in Centurion. Good morning.
Mr. Manyathela, how are you, sir?
Sure, man. What do you want to say about this?
Look, Mr. Manyathela, let me start with Mahlengu Benku. It is pity that really, Mr. Manyathela, you have to interview everyone. And then you ended up interviewing people like her, you know. So some of those who are still left in the ANC, you know, thinking that ANC will rebuild itself, they are now being, you know, they're pushed away further and further. That is the situation on the ground, because when you come on the national radio and talk about Dada Morero as being a positive person who's doing his level best, really we will doubt you, really, whether you have the thinking capacity. Sorry to say that, because it is heartbreaking, Mr. Manyathela, but that is not what I want to comment on. What I want to comment on, Mr. Manyathela, is that, we, people of South Africa, we really, really putting this country at risk, because every time we allow to be manipulated by the foreign nationals. Every time a foreign nationals being denied access, being denied visa, we come and put on the national radio and dissect it. They have been denied because there's a corruption. Yes, there's a corruption. Those people must be identified and dealt with. But to come and say, yes, they've been denied because there's a corruption, because of 1, 2, 3, they've been applying all along. That is not true. Each and every country has rules that must be respected, Mr. Manyathela.
Sorry, what is not true, Stephen? Are you saying that
what is not true is that everyone comes and say, my visa has been denied, I've been applying because there's corruption, because 1, 2, 3. The international rate, if you can follow now, there's been denied visa to enter the United States now. No one is crying about that.
Stephen, wait. We're getting lost here. I said there are certain people in this country, and Home Affairs even admits to this. The SIU's investigation also proves this. There are people who have been trying to get the right papers here, and they're not getting them because they're expected to pay thousands of rands. So officials at Home Affairs, and I'm not saying that's everyone. Of course, there are other people who have taken advantage. But Mr. Manyathela, so how do you then deal with those people who have tried their luck?
Those people must be assisted, yes. But everyone, is there anyone who ever came into radio and say, I'm here because I'm a economic migrant? Everyone says, no, I'm asylum seeker. Everyone say I'm a refugee. All of them. They manipulating the system, and we allowed it.
And of course, there are economic migrants. There are people who've called here who are here legally, who often even engage with us on the show. But equally so, there are people who are here who have abused the refugee status. They claim to be asylum seekers, but for some reason they've passed all the different countries when they left their home countries to come and enter into South Africa, which is why the white paper of Home Affairs is going to be fixing that issue of first, safe country first. Like, you can't just jump a number of countries and just end up in South Africa. In fact, if you are under threat and you are running away from something in your own country, you want the first available safe country you can find to seek asylum there. So this has been abused. I'm not taking away from that, but I'm saying there's complexity here. Let's look at the nuances. That includes the fact that there are certain people who simply have been trying to do the right thing. They've been trying to even extend their specific visas. But because of the corruption in our system, they've struggled to do that. And now you are bundling them together with all the other people who have abused their refugee or asylum status. WhatsApps on 0727021702.
Good morning, Clement. I think what the government are trying to help people to go home, Clement, it won't work. Because most of the people now, they already have properties, so many things here. And when they're taking them back home, they don't go with those things, Clement. So, and I'm working with the illegal foreigners, Clement. By the way, they told me that they can't go home. They can't leave what they've started here, Clement. It's a problem. Nothing's going to work. This is Letao.
Hi, Clement. It's Kelvin Ian 7 also. I want to say about the Aslam. I was here 2008, and then I get my Aslam in 2009. So my Aslam collapsed in 2022. I never go home. I'm still here in South Africa. So I don't know why the government. So as I tried to apply, they said I must apply the online Aslam, and then before during the COVID, I did, and then. When I did, there is another guy on Facebook says you can pay 2,000 rand. I pay that money, and then he give me the wrong Aslam, the fake Aslam. So that's why I am here right now. So I don't know. I am here now. They are chasing us like the dogs. So No, I don't know what to say. I don't know where to go. So this is my home. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. Thank you, Clement.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Clement, I'm sorry. This spokesperson from ANC, what is he talking about? Joburg is a mess. The only place that they did try to fix is Small Street and is it Marble Towers? I think that's the only two places. You can go to Joburg. It's a mess, that place. So it needs someone who's going to fix it, the buildings, a lot of work that need to be done there. If you go there, Clement, please. Like a lot of crime, a lot of things. So, please, man, please, must not waste our time. Thank you.
Disagree with the lady. I was in Joburg City on Sunday. Some areas of Ellis Park are so filthy you can die. Other areas are fine. I don't know where she's been in Joburg, but it's not satisfactory. It is absolutely filth and decay. I am appalled because I used to work in the city and I thought it was the most wonderful place in the world. It needs a lot of work, even for walk the talk around Victoria Yard. Some of those areas and side streets are filthy. So good luck to everybody. And I don't know what planet that lady's living on because that's certainly not correct. Carrie from North.
Hi, Clement. It's Kelvin and 7 also. I want to.
It's happening. Our own private workspace. Fully furnished, full access. Printer works. Wi-Fi works. Co-working works. It all just works. WeWork.co.za. Made for work, built for business.
The XXL Savings Championship is here. And with Checkers, everyone can save. Get deals like Doritos Corn Chips 145 grams, any two for 42 Rand. Crystal Valley Cheddar or Gouda Cheese 750 grams for 99.99 each. Save 30 Rand. And Optimo Detergent Capsules 30 per pack. Buy two and get a third free. Save 150 Rand. Valid until 14 June. Only at Checkers.
Outsurance knows insurance isn't tested on promises. It's tested when it's time to claim. The Ombudsman, an independent body that rules on complaints, confirmed in their 2025 annual report that Outsurance had the lowest overturned ratio of complaints received. The question then is, are you with the insurer that treats their clients the fairest? Outsurance delivers when it's time to claim. So why don't you switch for peace of mind? Call 08600 60,000 or visit outsurance.co.za today. Licensed insurer and FSP. T's and C's and information online.
702 salutes the youth of 1976
who dared to walk the talk.
The system has done so many things
and change the course of history forever.
It's 10 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Recently released court papers show EFF leader Julius Malema may have colluded with tainted crime intelligence boss Feroz Khan to remove a senior general from the police service. In return, Khan provided Malema with confidential information. Details of the questionable relationship between Malema and Khan are contained in an affidavit released by Madlanga Commission investigator Tsepo Nyatlo. Tabiso Koba has more.
In a recent interview on 702, EFF leader Julius Malema described Major General Feroz Khan as a friend.
Khan is well known. Khan is a comrade, well known to me. I knew him from the ANC time.
The EFF leader has maintained there's nothing improper about his relationship with Khan. However, the affidavit of Madlanga Commission investigator Tsepo Nyatlo suggests otherwise. It shows in June 2021, Khan wanted Malema to help him remove the Inspector General of Intelligence, Isaac Dintwe. Communicating through an intermediary, Khan sent Malema questions the EFF could pose in Parliament to Dintwe. The questions were intended to catch Dintwe out on a lie. In the same month, Malema requested information from Khan about a police complaint that was opened against him in the VBS Bank saga. Khan gave Malema the details of the police case, including the name of the complainant and their home address. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
Vehicle tracking company Cartrack has denied allegations that an employee who died at its Rosebank offices was prevented from going home after falling ill. Gcina Dladla died over the weekend after reportedly informing her superior that she was not feeling well. Her family and colleagues, who have asked to remain anonymous, citing fears of victimization, claim the company insisted she continue working, allegedly offering to accompany her to buy pain relief medication instead. Nkosikona Malingamnisi reports.
Gcina Dladla's family says she submitted a medical certificate but was allegedly issued with a warning instead of receiving support. In an internal notice, contract describes Dladla's death as sudden and unexpected. The notice sent to contract staff, the company denies any allegations that it prohibited Dladla from leaving the head office or receiving any medical assistance. They say there was no prior indication she was unwell when she arrived at work. However, when she did express ill health, she did not request to leave work or for sick leave. They regard the claims as false, insisting the narrative has now put staff at risk, with some employees allegedly receiving death threats. Cartrack alleges its highly trained first responders immediately attended to the scene, despite claims by some staffers that these responders lack sufficient training. The entity has not yet formally replied to EWN's list of questions, including questions on allegations they took time to call paramedics. Kwana Malingamnisi, Eyewitness News.
The state has intensified its cross-examination of alleged underworld fixer Ziad Pool in the Nafiz Modak trial by focusing on phone calls made around the time of a botched hits on attorney William Booth. Pool has been questioned about 10 calls between himself and co-accused Tawfiq Brown on the day Booth survived the shooting in 2020. It's the state's case that Pool and Brown acted on behalf of Modak to orchestrate the hit. Pool denies any involvement, insisting conversations with Brown on that day were not about the shooting. Carlo Peterson reports.
Prosecutor Greg Vormerans put it to Ziad Pool that Tawfiq Brown contacted him just seconds after speaking to the self-confessed gunman Riyad Ghasant on the day of the attack. Pool has, however, denied any involvement, insisting his conversations with Brown were not related to the shooting. The state maintains Pool and Brown acted on behalf of Modak in orchestrating the hit.
And it would seem on this the Booth incident, you are the middleman, Mr. Paul. You are the middleman. Here you are in the middle. Let's put him on your right-hand side. On your right-hand side is Mr. Modak.
Pool is due back in the witness stand today. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
And ChatGPT maker OpenAI has taken the first step towards going public. This comes a week after its arch-rival Anthropic announced its own filing as both companies look to raise the massive sums needed to expand. In a social media post, OpenAI had confidentially submitted a registration statement to U.S securities regulators but had not decided on timing yet for any potential debut. OpenAI's move follows a confidential filing by Anthropic, the maker of the Claude chatbot, which announced last Monday that it had taken the same step. Going public means ordinary investors can buy a slice of a company for the first time. It also is one of the biggest ways a company can raise money fast. Gold is trading at $4,327.96 an ounce. The rand is at 16.47 to the dollar, 21.97 to the pound, 19.01 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $93.40 a barrel.
And in the traffic in Bedfordview, we've got an accident on the N3 North that happened right near the Klulis interchange, delays from Van Buren Road. And if you continue making your way up towards the Sunning Hill area, do expect heavier traffic volumes between Marlborough Drive and the Baklu interchange. That's due to roadworks.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 21 and 22 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Recently released court papers show EFF leader Julius Malema may have colluded with tainted crime intelligence boss Feroz Khan to remove a senior general from the police service.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
On Sunday, 26 July, 7:02 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk unites us all in the iconic Joburg CBD.
7:02
Walk the Talk. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
7 minutes after 10 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702, and thank you for your contributions on the 702 open line, including your reaction, of course, to the interview we did with Mahlengu Bengu, who speaks on behalf of the ANC. If you've missed that conversation, is it already on podcast? Not yet. After the show, just check out the podcast and listen back to that conversation with Mahlengu Bengu. Yeah, I don't know how to even describe it. In a nutshell, the ANC is telling you that they are so impressed with the mayor of Johannesburg, Dada Morero, that they've decided to appoint him as the local government intervention convener for Gauteng. So think of it as like a group of experts who are going to go help struggling municipalities. So their responsibility is to help stabilize governance, finances, and service delivery in those municipalities. Dada Morero is the convener there. I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense to me, because the president came to the city late last year and expressed disappointment at the poor state of service delivery. The Auditor General has raised concerns about the state of governance and finances. So did the Finance Minister. And you, as the residents of the city of Johannesburg. So where does the ANC get this idea that many people are impressed with the work of Dada Morero when it comes to governance, when it comes to service delivery? And that's why I've opened the lines to some of you who have seen the impressive work of Dada Morero, so you can call in and point it to us. This is what this man has been able to do, because evidence suggests otherwise. Azundini on YouTube says, Clement, Mahlengi sounds bored by this interview. She knows she's being forced to lie. And then Vanessa on YouTube also says, don't worry, Clement, we were also laughing with you there at Mahlengi. The 4th of November could not come any sooner. And look, I wasn't laughing at Mahlengi. Let me clarify that. I chuckled because, you know, when someone says something that is so completely out of touch with reality, and you chuckle because it's an expression of shock. I mean, when she said people are walking around Joburg and they're impressed with service delivery, come on. It's 9 minutes after 10 o'clock.
You're with Clement Manyathela.
702.
So we start our conversation now with the acting head of the SIU, Leonard Lekgetho. And of course, there's just lots for us to discuss this hour. And I want us to touch on at some point on that damning interim report by the SIU exposing organized syndicates involving Home Affairs officials, foreign nationals, intermediaries, and they're all working together to manipulate immigration processes through fraudulent documents. I mean, there are sham marriages that were also revealed, manipulated administrative processes. But there's also the issue of the Tembisa hospital corruption and what we've been told before by the SIU, and of course municipal corruption. So if you've got some questions, you've got some clarity you seek regarding the work of the SIU, you're welcome to join this chat on 011 8830702. You can send your WhatsApps on 0727021702. Leonard, thank you so much for coming through. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning to your listeners.
So I want to start off by just praising the SIU, because I think you guys have really been doing an amazing job. And it's not always in this country that we've got institutions that are just on the money and they follow the money and we see consequences. And I know listeners have also called in before. I mean, one of them last week suggested that we must have provincial SIUs, like having an SIU in Gauteng, in Limpopo, in Northwest, because maybe that's when we're going to see corruption being rooted out. So we appreciate you and your colleagues' work there at the SIU.
Thank you.
I want us to start off with, you know, something that sort of has been confusing a lot of our listeners, because sometimes we see you guys going to attach assets, right?
Yes.
Let's take, for instance, Hangwani Maumela. You attach assets because you're seeing that there's a link between the monies that are used to buy these assets and monies that is looted from Tembisa Hospital, for instance.
Correct.
But then we don't see the NPA then acting and arresting this man. And we're like, but the SIU gave us an impression that there seems to be overwhelming evidence here. But then why is the is the NPA then looking the other way? Can you explain that to us? Because I imagine it's more complex than that.
Yeah. No, thanks for the congratulatory remarks, and we're really trying our best to make sure that we restore confidence to the people of this country in terms of fighting corruption. In terms of our process, when we investigate, the outcome of our investigation is the first one is civil litigation, of which that process is within our own right. We can do it from end to end. That's the one you spoke about of seizing properties or money. The second one, which is the outcome, is the one you're referring to, which is the criminal referrals. Out of our investigation, our act says if we come across any criminality, we must refer that to the National Prosecuting Authority. That's exactly what we are doing, but I'll come back to it. The third one, it's a disciplinary referral, of which if we come across any infraction that any official has misconducted themselves, we've got the legal standing to refer those disciplinary to the department so that they must take action against that official. The fourth one, referral for systemic recommendation. No, referral to regulatory bodies. For example, if there's a company that has done anything wrong, we can recommend to the department that they must blacklist that company because we don't want it to come. The last one is the systemic recommendation. That's what we do in order to make sure that we identify the risk exposure of government, of the department, to say what led to this corruption or this irregularity to happen. In that way, we make a systemic recommendation to say either your policy are not in place or there's a lack of governance, so that they can correct that, because we don't want to come back to investigate the same thing. Going back to NPA, we come across irregularity, we refer to NPA. So we don't have prosecution powers, so it's them that are doing it. But in order for us to be able to see traction in terms of this, we met with the new NDPP, whereby we are putting a plan together, because what they've realized is that there's a huge pipeline from SIU, and most of our matter comes with a forensic report which can easily be implemented.
Yes.
So currently we have signed MOU with the NPA, the Hawks, and the South African Police Service, because that's where most of our matter goes.
Yeah.
So currently we are making sure that that MOU is properly implemented so that we can able to hold each other accountable. So that's basically what is it. But currently we are making sure that the relationship and the working together is more. The one that we are referring to, we've even expanded where we've got what you call a fusion center, where we bring all the law enforcement agency. Then
the
we
fusion center still exists.
Still exists.
Wait, it was appointed some years ago by the president.
Yes, during COVID.
During COVID, yeah.
During COVID, yes. That's where we came together as law enforcement to say, what do we do with this thing? So after the COVID, we decided that this concept is working because it's bringing together everybody. Then we decided to say, because South Africa was coming out of grey listing, and I remember some of the matters that we're dealing with, it's money laundering, terror financing. So we decided to repurpose the Fusion Center to deal primarily with money laundering and terror financing, to prioritize those cases that can have impact in terms of us getting out of grey listing. So it is there. The Tembisa Hospital, it's one of the classified cases that is also being managed through Fusion Center, where they are all law enforcement.
Yeah.
So there is work that is taking place from behind.
Okay, I'm happy to hear that that there's a memorandum of understanding that has been signed, because honestly, even when I interviewed the former head of the NPA, Shamila Batoya, I was like, these guys are basically giving you on a silver platter. There's forensic reports, they've done work, they've attached assets, they've followed the money. Why are you not acting? You're not starting from scratch. So hopefully we're going to start the good work that you do, then we see the results as well in terms of prosecutions. Is there no duplication of investigation sometimes, though, that you find as the SIU? Because sometimes the Hawks are investigating the same thing you're investigating, or they're investigating Hangwani Maumela, just to use him as an example. How do you then manage that as different institutions?
Remember, like I indicated, our focus mainly is for the civil recovery. So the Hawks, they are primarily focusing on the criminality. So what we normally do, we talk. Because remember, we need documents from where? Tembisa Hospital. So we all converge there. And once we get there, we talk. What are you doing? What am I doing? And in most instances, like for now, what they do, they wait for our forensic report, whereby it will be easy for them to implement the report. So there is that talks to make sure that we don't duplicate. And also the way we are dealing with it at the Fusion Center, all of us are there. We know who's doing what and who's doing what. I think where they sometimes seems to be some form of duplication, it's where we do the recovery and the AFU also do the recovery. So sometimes we find that we are looking at the same assets, but we do talk. Because remember, for us, advantage is that we've got special tribunal. Our matter doesn't go and queue in the normal court, where it takes years and years, or it also depends on the criminality. Important thing is that we can review the contract based on irregularity, not on criminality. If there was supposed to be step A, B, C taken, then they jump C. There's an irregularity. We can take that that contract to court and say there was irregularity, they didn't follow the process, let it be set aside, and as a result, we recover the money that is being spent by government, which is different from NPA, where they need criminality. They must wait for somebody to be prosecuted so that they can able to get the funds.
Were you guys ever asked to look into the 360 million rand that Ket Matlala received from the SAPS? You were not involved in that?
We did receive the allegation when it surfaced, and we worked together with IDEC, where we approached IDEC to say, look, we received this allegation. Actually, we went to SAPS to say, give us documents. Then they said, no, IDEC is investigating. Then we went to IDEC. Then we engaged with them. Then they told us that they are quite far in terms of the process. Then we said, okay, it's fine. You can proceed with the process, so that we don't duplicate. But we are also looking at the space, because for us is to do the forensic to get to the bottom as to what happened, to trace the money that has been paid, as to who received the money, not to only look at the official that were responsible for the tender process. So we go deep in terms of following every cent so that we can come to the conclusion. So there are some engagement to say, now that the official or Ket has been arrested with the official, what is happening with the money?
Yes, follow the money.
Follow the
and
money.
That's what you guys are good with.
So that's what we are currently engaging to see whether if AFU is busy with the money, then we are fine. They can follow the money. But if there's nobody that is currently following the money, we have positioned ourselves to be able to come in so that we can follow all the money and recover all the money that has been spent by SAPS.
But what if we trust you guys more as South Africans to do that work? And then I'm not saying IDEC is not doing a good job. I'm just saying there's so much rot that exists in the system. I mean, you've seen what's happening in Madlanga Commission. Yes. There are IDEC investigators being mentioned. There are SAPS members being mentioned. It's almost like, and it's unfair to place such a burden on the SIU, but you guys are doing such a good job that sometimes you feel, let them investigate there. IDEC can look at maybe the role of the officials, but if you want to follow the money, you guys have shown and demonstrated you're good at that. So why not just take up that responsibility?
Yeah. No, look, there's, like I indicated, that there's AFU also. We don't want to monopolize and take everything, so we also give them we are working together with AFU also to make sure that where they fall short, we can come in, in order to assist. But this one, we really don't want to duplicate, and we want proper process to be followed. In most instances, once we receive allegation, we observe what's happening, whether are they going to investigate it to the full. And if we found that they have not done it to the full, we are able to go back and to say, can we get a proclamation so that we can go deep into this matter. So currently we are engaging to see what is happening in terms of the assets.
Okay. It's 22 minutes after 10 o'clock. After the break, we'll continue this conversation with Leonard Lekhet, who is the acting head of the SIU. I see your WhatsApps coming through. We'll go to your calls as well on 011-883-0702.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
The president invited us to a family meeting, and I agree with him that more stringent measures against employers who continue to attract cheap, exploited labor from other parts of the continent, those people should be held seriously responsible. You, Baba, you broke the law. You employed a foreign national in your house. Yeah, now we think you're in trouble because of that problem. Will you be facing the same music?
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Honor the fathers on Sunday, the 21st of June at Nairobi's Sculpture Park to celebrate the elders of South African music who helped shape the country's cultural heritage across generations. Enjoy the typically warm Highveld winter sun while cherishing our fathers, grandfathers, stepfathers, father figures, fathers who've passed and fathers to be. The program showcases the master crafts of Vusi Mahlasela, Hebi Twaledi, Silaile Salota, Matala Kunene, and others. Limited tickets are available from nyroxarts.com. Nyrox is a private, not-for-profit foundation to benefit the arts. All income is used to maintain the grounds, the artist residency program, and artist support.
Smart Steve from Momentum, hello.
Steve, you moved to Momentum. Congrats.
Thanks.
It's Tasha. Listen, the fast-paced life in Josie just isn't working for me. I'm migrating to the Cape.
What does that have to do with life insurance?
Well, you know I love a glass or three. And I want to age as graciously as a smooth Merlot, not a box of car Bordeaux.
Naturally.
And I need my critical illness cover to pair with those chill vibes.
Of course. With Momentum, you get the most comprehensive critical illness cover in the market. You could say it's a full-bodied offering.
I'll toast to that.
Chat to your financial advisor about Momentum's critical illness cover. Momentum, protecting your journey to success. Momentum is an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Your boss noticed. Your ex noticed. The neighbors definitely noticed. Because some cars say, I rented a car. And some cars say, I rented the car. Sani Sixt Rent a Car. Premium rentals. For people who don't settle. Choose the right car. Rent Sani Sixt on sani.co.za. The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
The ratings agency Fitch is upgrading its rating of South Africa for the first time in nearly 21 years.
We're certainly not out of the woods yet. It's good that there is some fiscal consolidation, and sure, the ratings agencies have paid attention and they have marked us up because of that. And I think there's a strong message to government here is get your house in order and you will be rewarded.
George Glenos is the director and head of research at ETM Analytics.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by Absa Rewards. Get double cash back depending on your rewards tier when an African team scores and wins at the FIFA World Cup 2026, courtesy of Visa. Use your Absa Visa card at rewards partners on match days to score. Join Absa Rewards on the banking app. Your story matters. Absa is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
702.
The Clement Manyathela Show.
Let's walk the talk.
25 minutes after 10 o'clock, we're in conversation this hour with Leonard Lekhet, who's the acting head of the SIU. There's someone who sent me a message who used to work for the SIU, Leonard, who's actually raising the issue that was raised by Shamila Batohi when she was on the show. And that's got to do with the act of the NPA versus the SIU Act. And this message says, the problem with referrals from the SIU for criminal prosecution is simply that the SIU Act and the NPA Act are not in sync. The NPA says that the NPA prosecutes cases which have been reported to the SAPS or the Hawks. The two acts, for instance, SIU and NPA must first be harmonized. In short, the NPA Act must be amended to ensure that the NPA can prosecute cases coming from the SIU, and there are many. So that's a message I got from someone who used to work for the SIU. And I remember Shamila Batoyi also raised this when I asked her, why are you guys not acting? And she said, well, the act also needs to be harmonized. What work is being done to deal with that? Because I suppose the memorandum of understanding is not going to be sufficient.
Yes. No, I think the listener is quite correct. So what happened? I think, remember, SIU was formed first as a commission. Then as a result, as a commission, normally the referrals from a commission goes to the prosecution. So when they decide to move SIU from commission to the real special investigating unit, some of the act were not really properly written, whereby, remember, the NPA, they prosecute based on Criminal Procedure Act. And our investigation are done in terms of the SIU and Special Investigation Tribunal Act. So for NPA to take a case to court, it must be through the Criminal Procedure Act, whereby the statement must be in terms of Criminal Procedure Act. The bank statement, they must request it in terms of Criminal Procedure Act. So I think that's the difference that is there. But in terms of the way it was envisioned that because we've engaged with NPA to say, let's do a test case. Take our matters as it is, because that's what our act say. We must refer to NPA as it is. Take it to court and test it. But I think that was the appetite there to say, do they risk to take the matter as they are from the SIU in terms of the SIU Act, not Criminal Procedure Act? So the MOU that we have is that we refer to NPA because our act say we must refer to National Prosecuting Authority. It doesn't say we must refer to the Hawks or to the police. So that's why we send it to NPA. Then the NPA's role is to look at it,
test it,
then get the police. Normally the police, what they do, they just get confirmatory affidavit. If we have interviewed you, they go to you to say, yes, the statement that was taken by SIU, can you confirm that this is what you said? Then they use that confirmatory in terms of Criminal Procedure Act so that they build their docket. If we have obtained any documents, they are able to issue subpoena so that they can get it through Criminal Procedure Act, and then they can able to build a docket, of which there's already lead. You know, we have interviewed Clement. We know we have interviewed this person. So for you, all you need to do is just get confirmatory, put together a docket, then you go with. So that's the disjuncture that is there, that our act and vis-a-vis the Criminal Procedure Act, which the NPA is using in order to take matters to court.
But there's a way to remedy that. And let's hope through this MOU. That's what you're working on. Dumisani, let me take you quickly before the headlines. You're calling from Germiston. What's your question? Good morning.
I want to know from the SIU, what powers do they have if they feel that they've done their job, they have investigated, and the suspect has a case to answer in court, but the NPA is delaying, or the SIU is feeling that the NPA has been compromised, because let's take a case of Maumela. They've done their job, but the case now is in NPA to prosecute, but the NPA is not prosecuting. Can the member of the public open a criminal case direct to Maumela so that the case can be reopened?
Got you. Dumisani, thank you so much. So the question there is, in the event the NPA doesn't prosecute a matter you've investigated and referred to them, or they're slow to do that, what options are available to you? Is there anything you can do at all?
Currently, I think that's why we hope that the MOU will regulate that. At some stage, we're even tempted to say NPA can issue a nollie prosecute, then we must take it, at some stage. But because we are government officials and we are working together, so there's constant engagement in terms of making sure that they implement our recommendation. And the issue about our recommendation is that they've never been tested. Like, for example, sometimes we refer to the department to say they must take disciplinary action against official, particularly municipalities. Sometimes they will just ignore our recommendation. I think it will take somebody to test our matter in court, like a public protector did, where the court came in and say the remedial action from public protector are implementable.
Binding.
So for us, nobody has done it, and we have not done it where it can be a test case to say these recommendations are binding, they must be implemented. But we
Is that what you're hoping for?
We are hoping that it can happen, but we are also hoping in the sense that we are reviewing our legislation so that it can have enforcement of this recommendation. And remember also there's a recommendation from the NACEC that there must be establishment of the Office of Public Integrity, whereby the SIU will be the base for that. Then in terms of that, there's going to be the review of legislation, whereby SIU now will going to operate under Chapter 9 of the Constitution, whereby we're going to have those powers. So that's the reform that is currently underway.
All right. It's 10:32. Let's get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. When we come back, I'd like us to start off with the Home Affairs corruption that's been uncovered by the SIU. But keep your calls and your WhatsApps coming. Sfiso, hi.
Thanks, Clements. Good morning. Gauteng recorded a significant drop in serious crime during the first 3 months of the year, but police have raised concerns over a continued rise in kidnapping despite broader improvements in public safety. Presenting the fourth quarter crime statistics for the 2025-2026 financial year, Gauteng Provincial Commissioner Lieutenant General Tommy Mtombeni has revealed that the province recorded 5,066 fewer cases of the 17 community reported serious crimes between January and March this year, and this is a decline of 5.2% compared to the same period last year. Following a deadly blaze that ripped through the Kathratha Park informal settlements in Johannesburg, devastated residents have been left to pick up the pieces. The fire, which broke out in the early hours of this morning, claimed the lives of 4 men aged between 20 and 50. Police have now joined investigations into the cause of the blaze, which remains unknown. And Russian strikes have killed 4 people and wounded 10 others in Ukraine's northeastern Kharkiv region. Daily Russian attacks that claim civilian lives have intensified in recent months, and Ukraine has hit back with its own deadly drone strikes further into Russian territory. According to a United Nations estimate published in April, more than 15,000 civilians have been killed in Ukrainian zones since Russia launched its invasion in February 2022. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, traveling on the N3 North, we still have got delays in the Kelvin area. This is between Marlborough Drive and the Bakru interchange. There's been an accident along this route, and that's the reason for that long backup. If you are traveling on the N1 North towards the city of Tshwane, there's queuing traffic between the Bakru interchange and Annandale Road. While heading towards Bedfordview, do expect heavy traffic volumes along the N12 and the R24 West between the Edenville Road exit and the Kululidis interchange. That's also due to an accident scene. Otherwise, on the M2 West, some delays between Harderbeck Road and Boysons Road. There's also queuing traffic in Devland along the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue. That's due to roadworks taking place along that route. Please try to use the N1 South and then turn off at the N12 instead. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
Where do you keep your important documents? Your kids' birth certificates, your marriage certificate, your will? And does anyone else who may need to know where to find them? That if something were to happen and these documents needed to be accessed, they would find them. Mateo?
Yeah, we do. There's something called deprem çantası in Turkish. It's a ready to go bag because it's a country prone to earthquakes. So you put that right next to the door.
It's called a what?
Deprem çantası.
Deprem çantası.
You had to add drama to it.
Amo.
I think that should be the word of the day.
Deprem çantası.
Yes.
Deprem çantası. Please repeat this word over and over and over again. I think I've already forgotten. I just think of Mhlakati. Oh, wow.
Deprem Chantas, Yemdana.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9
on 702.
If you work in marketing and you have delivered real business impact, this is your moment. The Marketing Achievement Awards, now in season 6, is South Africa's leading platform recognizing strategic marketing excellence. Whether you are in a corporate, agency, startup, or in-house team, the MAA celebrates smart thinking and real results. No matter your budget, entries are now open, so don't miss your chance to be recognized. Visit marketingawards.co.za to download your entry kit before the 11th of July deadline. The Marketing Achievement Awards, presented by Prime Media Broadcasting.
You know when your people are giving their best, not because they're pushed or pressured, but because they feel supported. And support is making sure they're covered. So if something happens, they can get the care they need. FlexiCare Health Insurance makes it simple for every business to protect their people with affordable health cover. You care, we cover. For a tailored FlexiCare quote, speak to your financial advisor today. FlexiCare is underwritten by ANG, a licensed non-life insurer and FSP, and administered by Discovery Health, a licensed FSP.
Day 42 in my new kitchen. I'm currently staring at the seamless handle profiles and integrated LED lighting of this masterpiece of modern architecture. My husband thinks I'm making a sandwich, but I'm just running my hands along the porcelain countertops for the 10th time today. I've even started speaking exclusively in a British accent to match the opulence. For a bespoke culinary space, visit Moremi Kitchens today at moremikitchens.co.za.
Not every change feels like a choice. Some arrive as disruption. Shift Happens with Richard Sutton is a podcast about those moments where life moves first and you have to catch up. When certainty disappears, direction blurs, and everything familiar starts to shift. You'll hear stories from people who faced change, doubt, and pressure and found a way forward. Their stories give us confidence. Living vicariously through their experience gives us hope, and we learn from their journeys. Because what feels like an ending is often the beginning of something else. Shift Happens weekly on PrimeMediaPlus.com, the Prime Media Plus app, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Powered by First Light, therapeutics for the modern mind.
You're with Clement Manyathela.
702. Let's walk the talk.
All right, it's 20 minutes now before 11 o'clock. We're in conversation with Leonard Lekgetho, who's the acting head of the SIU, and I want us to get into what they revealed in as far as Home Affairs corruption is concerned. But before I do, let me start with your WhatsApp voice notes and your texts that are coming through. Let's start with voice notes.
Morning, Clement. Chabam from Benoni. Look, it's so refreshing. I'm just listening to Mr. Lekgetho. I know you're still in the beginning of the interview, but it's so refreshing. One, that you're hosting somebody who is doing the work and the department is doing the work, and we can really see by the results. Yeah, I'm really grateful. But just a question. What makes them work? What does he believe that it is really what makes this department to work and for them really to be on the goal and to go for the goal and to produce the results? And I say this with respect. I know there are many departments who are doing the utmost best, but there are others that we can really tell that nothing's happening there. But him and with the team that he has, what does he believe that it is what makes them to tick and to work and to bring us the results?
Okay, so let's start maybe with that question. What makes you guys work? What makes you guys produce the results you produce?
No, thanks, Clement, and thanks to the listener. Basically, what makes SIU to work, I think there's a passion in terms of the members of SIU, and also the fact that we recognize as management their efforts in terms of the work that they are putting in. And also, we capacitate our members. We make sure that there's proper training and they are exposed in terms of different way of doing investigation. And the other thing is they can see the results of their work, which is really encourage them in terms of what they are doing. In order to enforce that, we have established the Cybercrime and Corruption Investigation Academy. And that academy is just geared to share knowledge, expertise amongst all other law enforcement, even our member And also we benchmark. Our strategy also is to make sure that we valued our member to the extent that we can't do anything without them. So the more they are valued, the more they are able to produce the results.
Yeah. Vincent on the WhatsApp line says, "Hi Clement, I personally congratulate the SIU on what they do or what they've done so far for this country. God may give them the wisdom." That's a message from Vincent. And then Tammy says, "Good morning, Clement. While there's so much negative things happening in our country, the SIU commitment to deal with the rot in our country is encouraging. Thank you for this interview." And then Kelvin is asking, "Hi, Clement, a question for your guest. Does the SIU also make systematic or process recommendations that close loopholes that are driving the factors for corruption? For instance, with the Department of Home Affairs, if you find loopholes that cause corruption, do you make recommendations for those loopholes to be closed?"
Yes, Clement, thank you. We do make a systemic recommendation. Remember when I was counting the outcome, one of it is the systemic recommendation. And in terms of that, we find what are the causes, what caused governance to collapse, because we really want to ensure that there's proper governance in the department. So we make systemic recommendation and we don't end up making recommendation. We go to them, whereby internally in the SIU, we've got a unit that is doing data analytics. Their role is to analyze our data and to analyze the policy so that they can do the predictive modeling, so that they can underscore that these are the risk exposure of the department. After that, we go to them as the department, we go through the systemic recommendation, and we develop action plan to say, what is it that we're going to do in order to address all this systemic?
Yeah.
Then we put a plan in place so that we can work on it to make sure that they implement that, because we don't want to come back and investigate the same thing.
Yeah. Let's touch, before I go to some more calls on WhatsApps, on your investigation into Home Affairs, because you described South Africa's immigration system as having become a marketplace where permits, visas, even citizenship were allegedly sold. What did you find through your investigation, and how do we fix it? Where do we even begin?
Thank you, Clement. Yes, that's the press release that we did. In terms of Home Affairs, we looked at different visas. For example, there was a study visa, of which most of the things we managed to find them around study visa, whereby official, where even foreigners, they exploited this aspect. They realized that in order for you to stay longer in the country, you can apply for a study visa. So the way it was so created, there was even institution, because remember, if you apply, there must be institution where you're going to study at. Only to find that those institutions never existed. There was somebody behind where they say, this is the number of institution and this is what I'm going to study. If somebody from Home Affairs called that number,
they would have found that there's no one there.
No, somebody will
someone
answer.
answers?
Yes.
Who works at the institution?
Allegedly so.
Uh-huh.
Then he will answer and say, yes, I know Clement, he's a student here, he's coming to study here. Then it's approved.
So it's a whole syndicate.
It's a whole syndicate. Then you get 5 years. After 5 years again, you come and apply, you get another 5 years. So that's how it was easy. Institution never existed where the members were studying, and members never really studied. There wasn't any study that was taking place. So that's what we found in terms of this thing. But interestingly, and you'll remember in our press release, we identify most of the the official that were responsible for adjudicating this study visa were at level 6, 7 of government, which is lower level. But if you look at the houses they stay on and the property that they own, the other one had a mansion where he even built a tar road to their house.
Yes.
So that's level how it is. From what we understand is that they charge 40,000 for one study visa. If in a day you do 10, you go home with 400,000. So that's how deep it was in terms of this official, to the extent that I remember even the minister, well, it was Minister Motsoaledi, wanted to institute investigation. They even went to court to say the minister must not investigate, just so that how to see it.
Yeah.
So there was exploitation in terms of the study visa. And I think I need to highlight that in that aspect, we saw Chinese, we saw Indians, we saw Bangladesh, we saw Pakistan, Nigeria, and Zimbabwean. So it was not only the black, so it was all across.
All across.
Yeah.
So how much money are we talking here? Because I remember the SIU saying that they traced at least 181 million rand to beneficiaries of these fraudulent applications. Are you in the process of trying to attach assets linked to those fraudulent monies?
The difference with the Home Affairs investigation is as follows. Remember, we able to recover the money from state.
Mm-hmm.
So this one of Home Affairs, it's a money that came out of criminality, but not necessarily coming from state. They used state in order to generate.
They didn't
money.
steal from Home Affairs.
They didn't steal
They
from
just
Home
used it as a driver.
Yes. So
Okay.
what we did, we refer this matter to Asset Forfeiture Unit because they are best placed to able to freeze, to seize those properties and those things. So currently we are working together with them so that they can able to use that their legislation in order to get them. Because for us, we saw that it's quite risky. We don't want to risk to go there and the next thing they come and challenge and say, on what basis? Because your act empower you.
Says this. Just monies that were stolen from government.
Yes.
Okay, but so the people that you found are earning not enough to be building mansions and tar roads, how did they explain their riches? Like if you are you said level 6 employee in government, but you live in a mansion, you've even built a tarred road.
Yes.
I mean, you must have a lot of money that leads to your home. How did they explain those riches?
The one for the tar road decided to resign while
I'm sure they're sorted for life.
They are sorted, but we will be coming. We will be coming. We're in contact with the AFU in order for them to speed up the process. But from their side, I think it was within themselves. And also what we have identified is that even though they are still outside, they still have link inside. So they are being used as a channel for these people so that they can able to get this thing. So the visa study was abused greatly. With other visas, at least there was sort of a mechanism. The recommendation we did, because the study visa was going to be approved by one person. So it doesn't need adjudication of many people. So it's easy for us. And we all see that they were coming from Cape Town or from PE, then they come to Gauteng to be adjudicated. So that's the process.
Are the officials being vetted at Home Affairs from what you picked up?
I think the officials, some of them are not vetted. As you know, that there's a backlog in terms of the state security, in terms of vetting. But that's one of the things that we have recommended, that they must be vetted. And also we have also recommended the lifestyle audit, that it must be conducted in all the officials.
Sure. It's 10 minutes before 11.
Let's hear from Al, owner of Johnson's Cable, why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance.
I thought it was going to be difficult to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Switching was so quick and easy. I'm happy with the premium that I'm paying now.
For electrical, tradesman services, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
702 Josie, my Josie Walk the Talk is coming to you with the people, for the people, on Sunday, the 26th of July, Babiza Bonke. And this year, you can choose from 3 different inner city routes. The 8-kilometer 44 Main Street route takes you from Ellis Park through Maboneng, Joel City, and past the Field of Dreams and Maharashi Invisibility Institute. You then go through Main Street Precinct, Gandhi Square, and past the Carlton Center, finishing off at Ellis Park. So whether you are taking on the 8-kilometer, 5-kilometer, or 15-kilometer route, enter now on primemediaplus.com and get ready for the 702 Josie, my Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg.
Joburg winter is creeping in. The mornings are colder, the scarves are back, and suddenly getting out of bed feels like an extreme sport. So why not follow the sun? Swap the chill for warm Durban beaches, island time in Mauritius, turquoise waters in Zanzibar, or even a European summer with a vibe. Wherever the sunshine is calling, Flight Centre will help you get there. Visit your nearest Flight Centre store or flightcentre.co.za to start planning. Flight Centre, your centre for travel.
In a world that is continuously evolving, Africa is adapting, innovating, and finding new pathways for growth. RMB Africa Focus is back for its 5th season to unpack the conversations shaping the continent right now. Every week on 702, award-winning journalist Crystal Odison takes a closer look at influential economies and emerging opportunities across Africa with insights from RMB experts and regional voices. Catch RMB Africa Focus Thursday on 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa. Make sure you watch the in-depth video series with episodes released weekly on Prime Media Plus. RMB, a leading African corporate and investment bank.
702.
The Clement Manyathela Show.
Let's walk the talk.
8 minutes before 11 o'clock, we're just about to wrap up our conversation with Leonard Lekhet, who is the acting head of the SIU. I want to go to some of your calls now on 011-883-0702. Let's start with Andy, who's calling us from Pretoria. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Clement, and good morning to your listeners and to your guest as well.
Sure, go ahead.
My question centered around the SIU's instruction to investigate the SIRA, that's the Security Authority. How far are they busy? Did they get, and what did they dig up in terms of the investigation? That is because the security together is bigger than the police and the army in a bunch.
Got you. Andy in Pretoria, thank you for your question. Let's take Ali as well, who's calling us. Ali, good morning.
Good morning to you, Clemens. I am the spokesperson for Babita Diokaran's family.
Mm-hmm.
I've got no question, but just to say to your guest, it's not often we call and appreciate a government agency or department, but this one has done extremely well.
Yeah.
And they've attended all Babita's commemoration, even though they didn't have to. I just want to say thank you, and they must continue to do wonderful job, and they've done wonderful investigations at Tembisa as well. I will kindly ask your producer to pass my number about certain information that I cannot divulge on air. But thank you very much to SIU. They give hope to the South Africans.
Thank you so much, Ali. Thank you. Speaking on behalf of the Babita Diokaran's family. Leonard?
Thanks, Clement, and thanks to the listeners. The issue about the PSIRA investigation, it was proclaimed last week. So currently, we are busy with the planning. So unfortunately, there isn't any outcome as yet. But we are busy putting the project plan together and the resource together so that they can able to deal with the investigation. And on the issue of the commendation regarding the work that we do appreciate and we do value the public. For us, Clement, we really value the collaboration because we believe that fighting corruption is not only the role of law enforcement, it's the role of everybody. Because why? The people that are driving flashy car, they're staying in our street.
Yeah.
And we know that these people are not working. If we collaborate, we are able to get information, pass it to the law enforcement, and the law enforcement are able to do the work efficiently rather than for them to take many years to trace. They are able to put it. So whistleblowing is very, very important. And we really doing this in order to make sure that whoever has done anything must go to jail. And we do appreciate and we really sad about what happened to Babita. May her soul rest in peace.
Do you have clarity for us on your investigation into, I think, the National Lottery and monies that flowed to the Sunday Times editor Makudu? Because one of the things he challenged was that the event actually did take place, that the monies that flowed into his business account where money is for an event that he ended up doing. Did you guys check if the event actually took place, and where are you with that investigation?
Okay. No, thank you, Clement. So on this particular one, but there's quite a number of investigation under lottery that we are doing. But on this particular one, what happened is that Toddy company,
Yes.
they applied for a funding from National Lottery. And as a result, they were awarded 1.5 million. And what happened with that 1.5 million? 900 went to purchase a house. 500 went to, what is it? It went to
Makudu's
company. As a result, then once we investigated, we approached Toddy to say, you received this money, what is it that you have done with the money? Then they pay back all the money.
All the 1.5 million. Okay.
Yes. So that's what we receive. So our statement was to say we received the money. And why do you pay all the money if there was work that was done?
Because if really the 500 was used for the event, you could have paid back R1 million because the 900,000 went to buy a house.
Correct. So, but what I can indicate is that currently there's still correspondence between us and Mashudu's lawyer, so that we can resolve this issue. But that's what exactly happened.
Yeah. But how does he clear his name? Is it if he provides you guys with evidence that, look, the 500,000 that was paid to me, this is what I did. I booked accommodation. And if he's able to provide that evidence, does that then clear him?
We met with him in a very, very, I think, 3-hour meeting where we explain our process, where we explain our finding. And I think out of that, he understood.
Okay.
But the issue is we don't clear people. His role is to engage the Toddy to say, why did you pay the money back if I've done the work?
Yeah.
You know. But there is engagement between the parties where we're trying to resolve, and for now I think it might even go through litigation. So, but for us we are ready for any other thing. But of course we are engaging because we really don't want people to be tarnished for no reason.
Yeah. And just lastly though, during that 3-hour meeting, did he give you evidence of these slips, like the people that he arranged accommodation for, the accommodation he paid, the flights? Did he give you that evidence?
He did send some of the evidence.
Okay.
But remember, it's not all about flight and accommodation. There's more to this thing. Where's the contract? And also you receive the money from lottery today, and the following day the money is transferred to your account immediately. There are quite a number of things. I think maybe let's not dwell too much into it, because we're still talking and we're still trying to find our way so that we can able to give him the satisfaction that he wants in terms of the answer from us.
Gotcha. All right. Leonard Lekgetho, acting head of the SIU, thank you so much. And thank you for the work that you guys continue to do at the SIU.
Thank you, Clement, and thank you to the listeners.
The world's best male and female paddle players are coming to South Africa. The historic Premier Paddle Pretoria P1 will be at Sunbet Arena Times Square from 26 July to the 2nd of August. Expect world-class action, unbelievable energy, premium hospitality, and an atmosphere unlike anything South African sport has seen before. This is Africa's biggest paddle tournament ever, and tickets are selling fast. Don't miss your chance to witness the sport's biggest stars in South Africa. Get your tickets now at primemediaplus.com.
Ready for the wild? In Zambia, adventure is calling. Track lions on safari, glide past elephants on the Zambezi River, and experience nature, raw and real. Then discover the thunderous beauty of Musiatunya at Victoria Falls. Zambia, let's explore. Start your adventure at www.zambia.travel.
We could tell you we're the best bank in Africa, but if you're a CEO or CFO looking to scale, you'll want the numbers. Like that 350 of Africa's corporates bank with us, that 80% of its billion-dollar corporates trust us with their business, and that our systems process 300 million rand a minute. That's 430 billion rand every day. Grow with the bank that does big numbers. Standard Bank Corporate and Investment Banking. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
It's time for the news, and this Eyewitness News is brought to you by Momentum. Financial advisors help you have a better shot at generational wealth. Speak to a Momentum accredited financial advisor. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Gauteng recorded a significant drop in serious crime during the first 3 months of 2026, but police have raised concerns over a continued rise in kidnappings despite broader improvements in public safety. Presenting the fourth quarter crime statistics for the 2025-2026 financial year this morning, Gauteng Provincial Commissioner Lieutenant General Tommy Mtombeni revealed that the province recorded 5,066 fewer cases in the 17 community reported serious crimes between January and March 2026. Now, this is a decline of 5.2% compared to the same period last year. Contact crimes, including murder, attempted murder, assault, and aggravated robbery, declined by 5.9% from last year. Dimakatso Lishuro reports.
Lieutenant General Tommy Mtombeni says murder levels in Gauteng declined, falling by 15% from 1,439 to 1,223, and attempted murder eased by 3.2% down to 1,710 cases compared to 1,766 in the same period last year. Rape cases also dropped by 9.9% with 202 less cases compared to the same period last year. Carjackings recorded a sharp 17.1% decline. Property-related crimes, including residential burglary, business burglary, and vehicle theft, decreased by 9.7%. However, Mtombeni says the positive trend was overshadowed by an increase in kidnappings, which rose by 38 cases or 1.6% in the quarter under review. Police say most kidnappings in Gauteng are linked to vehicle hijackings, highlighting the evolving nature of organized crime in the province. Dimakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News in Kempton Park.
Following a deadly blaze that ripped through the Kathrada Park informal settlement in Johannesburg, devastated residents have been left to pick up the pieces. The fire, which broke out in the early hours of this morning, claimed the lives of 4 men aged between 20 and 50. Police have joined investigations to look into the cause of the blaze. Nkoskona Malingamnisi reports.
Johannesburg Emergency Services say they received the call just after 2 o'clock this morning and deployed firefighters and emergency personnel to contain the blaze. Paramedics declared 4 adult men dead at the scene. Officials believe smoke inhalation was the primary cause of death, although investigations are continuing. Meanwhile, Johannesburg Emergency Services have warned that the cold conditions across the metro could lead to an increase in the use of unsafe heating devices. Joburg EMS spokesperson Robert Mulawodzi.
We are pleading with our residents to continue to look after all heating devices, not to leave them unattended, so that we can be able to prevent devastating fire incidents like this.
The fire has since been extinguished and a formal investigation is underway. Si Khona Malingamnisi, Eyewitness News in Claremont.
DA federal leader Jordan Hill-Lewis is set to lead a party delegation on a courtesy visit to Zulu King, Mrs. Zulukazwe Tini, today in KwaZulu-Natal. This will be the party's first visit to the monarch since it elected its new leadership structures at a national level and provincial level just a few months ago. The party will be represented by leaders in government, including ministers and MECs. Hill-Lewis says the visit will focus on development.
The visit reflects the DA's deep respect for the institution of traditional leadership and its enduring role in the lives and heritage of millions of South Africans. Our message will be that the best way to honor the Zulu nation is to build a country that works for all. And I look forward to the meeting.
And Russian strikes have killed 4 people and wounded 10 others in Ukraine's northeastern Kharkiv region. Daily Russian attacks that claimed civilian lives have intensified in recent months, and Ukraine has hit back with its own deadly drone strikes further into Russian territory. According to a United Nations estimate published in April, more than 15,000 civilians have been killed in Ukrainian zones since Russia launched its invasion in 2022. More than 2,800 civilians have died in Russian-controlled zones, according to the United Nations. Gold is trading at $4,327.96 an ounce. The rand is at 16.47 to the dollar, 21.97 to the pound, 19.01 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $93.40 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays along the N1 North. This is just as you approach the Baku interchange. Please be on the lookout there. An earlier accident is causing these delays. There's also queuing traffic reported along the N3 North towards the Baku turnoff. That's due to roadworks coming out of Marlborough Drive.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 21 and 22 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Gauteng recorded a significant drop in serious crime during the first 3 months of this year, but police have raised concerns over a continued rise in kidnappings.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
They say the early bird catches the worm. Great advice, unless you're the worm. Generic so-called wisdom doesn't work for everyone, so I settle for a financial plan that's one size fits some. Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to get to really know your unique situation. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
Visit primemediaplus.com to enter 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. Hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for our Josie.
For Joburg, by Joburg, in Joburg.
Bamise bonke.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
Nine minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. It's time now for our World of Work feature.
702.
World of Work.
So, on our World of Work feature this morning, we're discussing the downside of getting a promotion. Yeah, I know. There are many of you that are probably thinking, but if you get a promotion, you're excited, you're happy. It's what you've probably been praying for. But there are so many people who work incredibly hard for a promotion only to feel overwhelmed, disconnected, or emotionally exhausted once they get there. Because getting promoted is supposed to be a milestone, right? That's what we expect. It's supposed to be a reward for hard work and dedication. But for a growing number of high performers, the reality of stepping into a leadership role is far more complex than expected. So I've got someone who's going to help us understand what they have observed in as far as responses of people are concerned once they get their promotions. Like, how do you even help performers step into management without being fully prepared for the emotional, behavioral, like the identity shifts that leadership demands? So what is really happening when the dream job starts to feel like a burden? Anya van Beek is a leadership strategist and executive coach who will be guiding us through this conversation. But I'd like to hear from you as well. Have you been promoted? And what happened when you got promoted? Did you feel overwhelmed? Did you feel emotionally exhausted? Did you sort of regret stepping into that leadership position? Share your experiences with us on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. Anya, thank you so much for coming through. Welcome back to the show. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. How lovely to be back. I trust you are well.
Yeah, I'm good. So normally, congratulations are supposed to follow a promotion, but you are seeing something different in your coaching practice. What's actually happening for many leaders who once wanted to step into a leadership role?
Yeah, I think that's such an important question. And what I'm seeing is so often I hear people say, I finally made it, I've been promoted, I'm now going to have so much more confidence and influence. And then the reality is that they face a lot more complexity and experience a lot more pressure because they're now getting the pressure from the shareholders and the executive team, as well as a team that's reporting into them. So what we see is when we look at the human side of change, there's a lot going on. So instead of, as you say, I'm expecting the congratulations because you now have the title, it might go hand in hand with a financial increase, people are saying, sure, I'm not fully prepared for the responsibilities, and how do I navigate differently now that I'm promoted?
So, I mean, there's a phrase you used, the hidden emotional load of management. Can you unpack that for our listeners?
Yeah, so let me position it to you by giving you a little bit insight into a research study that was done, and then I'll elaborate. So when we look at the state of the global workplace report, it's a study done by Gallup. What we see is that engagement levels globally has dropped. But the interesting part is that the primary driver for that decline is the scores that the management level has given. So what we see is that managers in organizations is actually the group that seems to be struggling the most. Now, you can imagine being a new leader or being a new manager, rather, in a work environment that, and if we talk about the emotional side, let me explain that to you. So when we go through any change in life, even a positive change, our nervous system sends a sense of threat, and our body responds to that. The reason for that be there's a lot more uncertainty, there might be a lot more pressure on you, and you're not sure how to handle that. The reason for that being is that if I look at the statistics and if I compare that with what I see leaders and managers say in my practice, is they don't get the support they're needing. So I have a new job title, but I'm not getting a new toolkit. No one is teaching me or showing me or mentor me into how do I need to make that shift. And I think it's a big thing because we often appoint our best accountants or we appoint a person that's technically very strong. But what we need when we move into a management role is a totally different set of skills. And that's why that emotional drain is coming because people might feel overwhelmed. And they want to, stand their ground and they want to make as if they have the confidence and the know-how of how to do that. But they're a little bit lost in the dark and they're not sure how to navigate that.
Sure. So do you find then that the problem becomes, because you mentioned the support once you get to that position, because sometimes, people get promoted because they are good with currently what they're doing. But I mean, if I get promoted to go and become a station manager, that's a completely different ball game. Being good at what you do doesn't necessarily mean you would be good in a managerial position. Do you find that employers are not investing enough in capacitating their managers, before or once they've taken up those leadership roles? Is that where the lack of support comes from?
Yeah, that's definitely the one side of the coin. One side being that we don't give them the necessary exposure or mentor or coach or whatever is needed to support them in the transition, because if you go through the change, there's so many different emotions. We see a lack of trust, we see a lack of confidence, which is predictable and almost expected, but we need to manage that differently. So yes, absolutely the one side of the coin is, how do I support them? Because what they did yesterday, they were part of the team, they were responsible for their own output, and now suddenly they're not doing the work anymore. They now need to create the environment where other people need to enable the other people around the table. And that's what we need to be mindful of. So they're not the expert anymore. They now need to influence and coach people around the table, and that's what we need to support them to be more strategic in their thinking, more empathetic when they deal with people, and that I always call it the shift from doing to enabling. So that's the one side of the coin. I think the other side of the coin is for that individual in the role to know that, you know what, the title is nice, the increase in financial reward is nice, but do expect that it might be a journey. It's not an overnight success. To become a manager and, show up differently takes time. And you need to give yourself a little bit of grace because it's all new for you as well. And I think when you manage that expectation as an individual, then you understand, okay, I now see that my focus needs to be different. I love to bring in that analogy of what is the head, the heart, the hand, and the human component. Because if you have a look at those components and integrate that into the new role, you can manage your expectation. And you can understand that the way you look at things is totally different. There might be a lot more interruptions. You might be used to sitting at the desk and, solving the problems, and now you get interrupted by people asking, looking up to you for the solutions. And then for you to understand that you're less of the expert and rather ask them a question so that they can come up with their own solution. But I mean, it's so difficult if you know exactly what to do, if you've been in that role yesterday and you know all the answers, instead of telling them, now transition to that coaching management style of asking the questions.
Yeah, on the WhatsApp line, Bangani says, Clement, I was a sales engineer all my life and was set up at home for office and traveled a lot to see clients. Then I applied for a business development manager post, which I got promoted to. I could not cope with being office bound and working in a structure, of tea or lunch time. I was so used to managing my own time, so I quit in 2 months and went to business. It's been 10 years now. Another one says, Clement, this promotion conversation is so important. Recently, I saw an Instagram post that says, before you wish for the promotion, look at the people who have those roles and ask yourself if their lives are what you want. And my answer was no. I actually don't want my manager's life. I want more freedom. Yes, I want the money, but I don't want my work to be the center of my universe. Even when he's sick, he is at work. No, that's not going to work. That's a message we've received there from Tloghi. But I think we've seen this a lot, Anya, where these leaders, once they're promoted, they cope by simply working harder. They're working long hours, over involvement, doing the work themselves. So why is overworking such a common response, and what does it actually cost the leader?
Yeah, and I just want to build on what the previous or the last listener mentioned, because that's often what I see. The younger generation is asking, do I really want that promotion? Is it worth the effort? So what do we do? Now, the one thing, Clement, I think it's focused on our conditioning. And our conditioning say that you need to be visible, you need to be the one first at the office, leaving last, because that shows commitment, that shows performance. And I think the first shift must be, we need to change that belief of conditioning that you need to be visible. I think the one thing that South Africans as a country is known for is our can-do attitude. And that's such a strong characteristics that we know no matter what, we will find a solution. But I think to bring in the balance, who's responsible? Or that question, do I need to do it myself? Is it really me that need to work harder? And the answer is no, it's not you that need to do that. Rather ask the question, what do I need to change in the environment, perhaps in the process, perhaps in the system, so that I can help the team to reach these goals, and not taking ownership yourself any longer, because you're now enabling others to find the results. And I think that's that can do shift, or that can do attitude. I think that's what we need to challenge is, I can do it, but how do I change to enable others to be successful? Because it's not me that needs to, bring all the results. I need to influence others. And as team members, we look up to the leaders and see what they do. I mean, are you a leader that struggles to have boundaries, that struggle to close the laptop, sending emails at night, versus someone that demonstrates that it's good to take care of yourself and your exercise and nutrition and all those things, because then I can be more resilient and I can have the mental capacity to solve things on a different level. So I think we need to be so mindful how we show up, and that shift of the conditioning that you need to do everything, because that's the majority, or the major one that I think that we need to focus on.
All right, 22 minutes after 11 o'clock. When we return, I'll go to some WhatsApp voice notes we've received from our listeners.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
This problem of digitizing and making, first of all, safeguarded copies of things, but secondly, making readily available what the police know, what they're trying to know. But we've been talking about fixing this up, I think, for decades in South Africa. Are we on track, or are we still at the start line?
So the police would tell you that we are on track, but I can tell you now that we are not on track. There is no integrated justice system either in terms of a digital process. Money is budgeted almost annually for it.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
More and more employers are talking about SA Youth, a free online platform that connects employers with young people who are ready to work, and more businesses from big brands to small companies are turning to it. The feedback is consistent. It saves time and gives you access to entry-level talent fast. So if you've been thinking about growing your team, it's definitely worth a look. That's SA Youth, powering South Africa's youth workforce. Find them at sayouth.co.za.
In life's most challenging moments of loss, compassion can be your greatest comfort. You shouldn't have to face the financial burden of losing a loved one by yourself. Rest assured, Clientele's funeral plans pay out cash within 24 hours. You can cover up to 13 family members on one plan, ensuring all your loved ones are taken care of, and 3 children are covered at no additional cost. With Clientele, you're not just buying a plan, you're also buying peace of mind. When the time comes, you will need to make important calls with your 200 Rand airtime you will receive when you claim. Plans offer double accidental death cover, as well as transport, grocery, and unveiling benefits. Apply today. It's easy. There are no medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
The Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa is calling for nominations to its appointment committee. 3 members will be appointed for a 4-year term starting in August 2026. Nominees should have experience in broadcasting, journalism, media, broadcasting law, or related fields. To submit a nomination, send a motivated nomination, the nominee's acceptance, and a short CV to bccsa@nabsa.co.za. Nominations close on 17 June. Find out more at bccsa.co.za.
What if the problem you faced became the business that changed everything? That's what Nedbank Business Ignite on 702 is all about, with this year's theme, My Pain, My Purpose, My Solution. We're calling on small businesses that turned real challenges into powerful ideas. You could win 200,000 Rand in cash, plus mentorship, business support, and tools to help you grow sustainably. Enter the Nedbank Business Ignite on 702 now at primediaplus.com or igniteyourbusiness.co.za. See money differently. Nedbank, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
702.
World of Work.
25 minutes after 11 o'clock. We've been discussing this morning the downside of getting a promotion with Anya van Beek, who's a leadership strategist and executive coach. And I'd like to hear some of your experiences now. So let's go to some WhatsApps on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Clement. In my 17-year experience in the motor industry, doing sales, if we were offered a position to become a manager, you just knew they wanted to fire you, because most of the people they wanted to get rid of, they just offered a managerial position, and then they just put pressure. They put pressure, faga mafuta, and then the person ends up resigning. And a lot has happened. Either they're giving the managerial position due to a BEE, or it's a tactic to get rid of you. So I've seen this in the whole 17 years happening. I've been offered twice, but I've been in the same position as sales for the past 17 years without accepting any managerial or assistant manager position.
Morning, Clement and your team. I was promoted from a technical person to a managerial role. I was really not prepared for the backlash that come with managing people. So I ended up doing both the technical and the manager, which is also not good, because you end up having a burnout, because I felt like people were sabotaging me, but I know how to the technical aspect of our work, so I will do both. But I'm burnout, and I felt like people were not doing their work because they wanted me to fail. It's Patricia in Kidley.
Oh, thank you so much, Patricia, for your thoughts. Anya, I'm also getting a sense that the imposter syndrome could also become a factor. Like people who then, once they are promoted, they start doubting themselves after the promotion. And I'm just wondering, how widespread is this, and what does it look and feel like in practice?
Yeah, so first of all, I think I want to emphasize that the purpose of having this conversation is not to discourage people to have ambition and to go for those roles, because it's definitely possible. But I think what we're hearing is to make sure you have the necessary support and tools to help you. Because I think what you said, imposter syndrome, and if we have to break that down, what does imposter syndrome mean? I like to use the word imposter. It's not really a syndrome, it's more a habit of thought, and where the people really just say, I'm not sure if I'm good enough, even if you have all the qualification and all the proof that you do have the experience. It's where you start that habit of thinking that, I will be catch out. And it's usually our higher performance that we see is struggling with this imposter phenomenon. And I think, first of all, when you see that, when you recognize that pattern of thought, is to acknowledge and say, let me remain curious. I see I'm not giving myself the backing, or I don't trust in my own abilities. What can I learn from that? And I think that is where I have seen that when organizations focus on something like a mentorship program and just buddy or partner the young new manager with someone that's older, that has been through it, that can guide you through scenarios, that is definitely supporting you. Because listen to what the last listener has said. She said, I was so confident when it came to the technical side of the work, but as soon as it came to the human side, to understand what motivates people, what are the skills that I need when I'm at odds with someone, or I need to give difficult feedback, how can I be candid and respectful at the same time? Those are skills that's learnable, and that will increase your confidence. So I think, first of all, if you appoint it and if you see you're an imposter or feel like an imposter, is to say, you know what, that discomfort is not always a signal that you're in the wrong place. It can be a signal that, yes, it's a little bit uncertain, it's new, but that's where we grow. And if we can have that growth mindset to say, yes, let me see, now that I'm responsible for people to operate, it's not only my own performance anymore, but how can I support the others to be successful and to perform and help creating conditions for them. That's when the shift starts to happen.
Yeah, sure. Anya, thank you so much for joining us for this important conversation. I really appreciate it. Anya van Beek, leadership strategist and executive coach. 11:31, Bali has the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Bali, the latest GDP figures have been released.
That's correct, Clement. A very good morning. South Africa's economy has recorded an increase of 0.5% in the first quarter of this year. This is according to the latest GDP figures released by Stats SA this morning. Agriculture and finance have been identified as some of the main contributors of this growth. Gauteng recorded a significant drop in serious crime during the first 3 months of 2026. This is according to Gauteng Police Commissioner Mtombeni, who presented the fourth quarter crime statistics in Kempton Park this morning. Mtombeni revealed that the province recorded over 5,000 fewer cases of serious crime during the period under review. And EFF leader Julius Malema's R1 million defamation case against Kenny Kunene has been struck off the roll. The two's legal teams were meant to battle it out in the Johannesburg High Court today. Malema was suing Kunene over alleged defamatory statements he made during his appearance on Podcast and Chill with MacG. Well, those are the headlines. This EWN and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Travelling on the N1 North, we've got a major accident scene right near Allendale Road. Delays coming out of the Baklu interchange, about a 20-minute hold up there. If you're heading towards areas like Midrand or even the city of Tshwane, please try to use the R55 instead. While travelling in four ways, we still have got queuing traffic on Winnie Mandela Drive between Witkappen Road and Leslie Avenue. Faulty traffic lights there. There's also queuing traffic reported on the N12 and the R24 West. This is between Edenville Road and the Kilulis interchange. Roadworks are causing these delays. There's also roadworks in Boksburg along the N17 West approaching the R21 Rondebolt Road. Please be on the lookout there and try to avoid. We'll have more traffic updates for you right at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
It's lunchtime and Mr. D has you covered. Open the app, pick your favorite meal and enjoy free delivery between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. No restrictions, no hustle. Skip the line, stay at your desk and let us bring lunch to you. Plus, every food order on the Mr. D app gives you a chance to win exciting prizes. So download the Mr. D app now and make lunchtime effortless.
Hey, we buy cars. How does it work if I want to sell my car?
We'll drive to your place. You can visit our pods. Even if you don't have space, then at the mall in a parking lot, we've got lots of depots all across the land. Contact We Buy Cars. You're in safe hands. Safe hands.
Wow, that's great.
We Buy Cars, the easiest way to sell your car by far.
Switching was so quick and easy. I'm happy with the premium that I'm paying now.
Outsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know you could get a guaranteed premium for 12 months even if you claim? For electrical, tradesman services and all other businesses. Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
On Sunday, 26 July, the entire city unites for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk.
Walk the Talk.
And because Joburg is more than just a city, we'll be walking for the people. So join us and help make a difference to homelessness in the city by entering on primemediaplus.com and donating vouchers.
Donate a voucher.
Which is a cashless way to give, helping people experiencing homelessness access a hot shower, a meal, a bed, or more support. Anybody can join and everybody can donate. 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Enter and donate now on primemediaplus.com.
702 Health and Wellness.
25 minutes before 12. This health and wellness feature is brought to you by Cipla. Stay connected with us. So today we are talking about the art of staying well with Dr. Michael Mall, because every year, without fail, it hits us. The sore throat in the middle of a busy week, the fever that flattens you on a Friday, the cough that lingers for what feels like a month, quite honestly. But most of us treat colds and flu like an unavoidable tax, right? You pay it, you suffer through it, and you get on with your life. But what if you could actually do something about it? Not just react when you're already flat on your back, but actually understand what's happening in your body. Like why some people get hit hard every winter while others sail through, and exactly when you need to stop self-medicating and call a doctor. So Dr. Michael Mall joins us now to give us the full picture on colds and flu, the science, the practical advice, and a few things that you might genuinely be surprised by. Dr. Michael Mall, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning.
It's great to be on the show again, Clement. Thanks for having me.
So a lot of people talk about colds and flu as if they're the same thing, right? You're sneezing, you're staying in bed. Are they actually different, and does it matter which one you have?
Yeah, they are generally different illnesses. And yes, it matters enormously which one you have. And I love the fact that people kind of go, I've got the flu. My first reaction to them as a doctor is, I'm not sure you do. I think that's a cold. But they behave differently. They carry different risks and respond to very different interventions. So a cold comes on gradually. You talked about a tickle in your throat, that stuffy nose, maybe a mild headache. You feel off, but you can still function. You can still come on air, Clement. You can get up and go to work. You probably shouldn't, but you could. Flu, on the other hand, that hits you like a truck, and it does it fast. You could be fine at breakfast and completely flattened by lunch. And we're talking fever over 38 degrees Celsius, severe muscle aches, a dry cough, and that tiredness, that fatigue that makes getting out of bed feel like an expedition. In fact, there's a lovely test, Clement, that every one of us should do if we're trying to figure out whether we have a cold or the flu. And it's a test you can do with your phone. It doesn't matter what phone you have. Any phone works. And here's the test. If you have a cold, you can still scroll on your phone, still check your Instagram. If you have the flu, your phone could be on fire at your bedside table and you wouldn't care. That's the difference. And it's very simple and stupid and, dad joke, but it really is true. There's a massive difference between a cold and a flu. And flu is the risky one. I mean, that's the pneumonia, the hospitalization, the risky outcomes for very old and very young. So very important that we know the difference.
Okay. So in essence, do I have the capacity to actually know which one I've got? Like, is there a way to tell at home, or you would need a test?
Well, I mean, there's that phone test. No, but seriously, I mean, you can do what we call a rapid test like we did in COVID days. And some pharmacies have those tests. The positive result is fairly reliable. In other words, if it says you have the flu, yeah. But a negative test doesn't rule out the flu. So I still think what we call in medicine, the clinical picture still matters. So think how fast, the speed of onset, that's your first clue. If it came on over a day or two, it's a cold. If it came in a matter of hours, it's the flu. And the other big distinguisher, Clement, is fever. So a really high fever, 38.5 degrees, anything above that and that stays above that for 2 or 3 days, man, that's the flu. And then the muscle aches and the fatigue I talked about. So it's way better to tell the difference clinically than to go and do a test.
Yeah. So something that may surprise some of our listeners is that colds and flu are no longer just a winter thing. I mean, what's happening there?
Yes,
what are you observing?
I know. Absolutely. In fact, that's such a great comment because traditionally we've talked about flu season, quote unquote, June, July, August. You get your flu shot in April or May and you get through the winter and you're done. But the data that we're seeing from global surveillance networks, in fact, including our own NICD here in South Africa, shows that influenza is circulating outside of those classical winter months. So I'm talking flu specifically. We're seeing cases in summer months. We're seeing outbreaks in spring. And there are a couple of reasons. I mean, what we see in the data is that climate patterns are shifting. But more importantly, and this is something we can do something about, is we spend more time indoors and enclosed air-conditioned environments. I mean, think open plan offices and shopping centers and gyms. I mean, they're all excellent at circulating viruses. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't go. I'm just saying be aware that that's what causes flu all year round. I mean, international travel, we've got guests, that come from all over the world that bring their bugs with them. So I suppose the practical implication for you and I is we can't anymore mentally sort of file flu risk under winter and forget it for the rest of the year. It's a 12-month conversation.
Yeah. Let's talk about why some people seem to get sick every single time something goes around, like while others seem completely unaffected. Is that just genetics, or is there something people can actually control?
So which one are you, Clement?
I never
Don't
really
answer
get
that.
sick.
Oh, well, there you go. So I'm stoked to hear that.
Yeah.
You talked about genetics, so they play a minor role, but really minor. The vast majority of it is modifiable, which is actually great news, because it means you and I have real agency and real power here. So your immune system's effectiveness on any given day is a direct reflection of how you and I have been living. So, for example, sleep, that's probably the biggest one. And there was research coming out of the US that showed that people sleeping fewer than 6 hours a night, okay, just less than 6 hours, which is often most of us, I mean, that's me on a bad day, were 4 times more likely to catch a cold. 4 times. Not a little bit more likely. I mean, that's not marginal. That's transformative. That's significant. And that's just sleep. So sleep is one. Chronic stress in terms of lifestyles is next. So if you've got a high cortisol, that's our stress hormone, that directly suppresses our immune cell activity. So it's not just affecting your mood, it's lowering your defenses. All right. If we're stressed, we're going to catch a cold. And then there's nutrition. So zinc and vitamin D and vitamin C they've got their roles in immune function, some more than others. And then finally, activity, or rather inactivity. If we're inactive, if we're sedentary, if we're sitting all the time, we reduce what scientists call your immune surveillance. That's basically your body's ability to spot and neutralize threats early. And every single one of those factors, sleep and stress and what we eat and inactivity, affects factors that affect our immune system. So you ask why some people get sick all the time and others don't. It's largely, like 90% of that is lifestyle.
Okay, so change that, and hey, you may just be.
And I feel like I'm making everyone feel guilty who's sick at the moment. That's not the intention. It's just kind of giving you a reason. Clement asked, it's not genetics, it's how we choose to live.
Okay, so what about self-medication? Because some people often self-medicate, but not everyone recognizes when it's time to actually seek medical attention. So how do we recognize when it's time to do so?
Well, I mean, it's an interesting question. And maybe, I don't even want to bring the antibiotics thing up now. We could do that in a moment. But I'd say, Clement, your immune, well, it's a funny question you ask. Your immune system is generally in good condition. So we've covered sleep and stress management, exercise, all that sort of stuff. If you think about what you can do before you go to the doctor, there are supplements. So vitamin C modestly reduces a cold duration. So, they talk about 8% in adults. That's modest. Zinc, by the way, has got a far better effect. There's more evidence there. Zinc, if in the first 24 hours of your symptoms, can reduce your cold by about a day, which is great. And vitamin D is just crucial for baseline immune function. So I'd say if you want to, not go and see a doctor, if you want to just do something to prevent that cold, supplements. And then there's hand washing. We talked about this all the time during COVID. Viruses survive on surfaces for hours. And if you can wash your hand regularly, I mean, we touch our faces, I can't remember the stat, through around, in the 20s, like 20, 24 times an hour, and we touch our faces. And if you're not washing your hands, you're just passing on those viruses. So there's that exposure. And then maybe just a plug for the flu vaccine. It gets reformulated annually. It's not perfect every year, but it consistently reduces severity and duration and complication risk. I give it to my family. I take the flu vaccine every year and would highly, highly recommend it. It's probably one of the best tools we have for preventing influenza.
Yeah. Can we get some more clarity though on the antibiotics? Because a lot of people, the moment they feel sick, they're on the phone to their doctor asking for antibiotics.
Yeah.
Can you set the record straight on that?
Yes, thank you for asking. That, for those of you who are listening, that's just something Clement and I knew we were going to talk about. The direct answer there, Clement, is antibiotics do not treat colds or flu. Full stop. I feel like I've been saying this since I was a young doctor 30 years ago already. Colds and flus are caused by viruses. Antibiotics kill bacteria. They don't touch viruses. They don't make you recover faster. They don't reduce your symptoms. What they actually do is kill the bacteria in your gut and your body that you actually need, your good bacteria. And more seriously, they contribute to something called antibiotic resistance. That's one of our health emergencies, global health emergencies. And in fact, South Africa has some of the highest resistant rates in Africa. We are genuinely, Clement, at the risk of entering an era where those routine bacterial infections, the one we've treated successfully for decades, become untreatable. And every unnecessary antibiotic prescription moves us closer to that reality. So please, antibiotics do not treat colds or flu. And in fact, if your doctor prescribes you antibiotics for a straightforward cold, ask her or ask him why. I mean, there's a reason to take antibiotics. They absolutely have a secondary bacterial infection, sinusitis or an ear infection or pneumonia. That needs antibiotics. But the average cold, no. I mean, giving antibiotics for cold is like calling a plumber in to fix an electrical fault. It's wrong tool, wrong job, and you're doing more damage, in fact. If you look at the science, and then I'll stop and get off my pedestal for a moment, but if you look at the science, taking an antibiotic when you don't need it actually does more harm than good. And it makes you more susceptible to getting ill in the future. It affects your immune system, it affects your mood, it affects your gut, it destroys all the good bacteria in your gut microbiome system. So please don't. If you've got a cold, you'll survive.
Okay. So I've got some messages coming through, some questions for you as well from some of our listeners. So give us a call on 011-883-0702. Keep your messages coming on WhatsApp as well on 072-702-1702. Your questions on colds and flus, and maybe you've got strategies that you want to check if they are fine in avoiding colds and flus or in dealing with them. Give us a call or send a WhatsApp voice note. We'll start with those after the break. It's 13 before 12.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
The president invited us to a family meeting, and I agree with him that more stringent measures against employers who continue to attract cheap, exploited labor from other parts of the continent, those people should be held seriously responsible. You, Baba, you broke the law. You employed a foreign national in your house. You're in trouble because of that problem. Will you be facing the same music?
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Corporates That Care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch Corporates That Care this Wednesday at 10 to 9, featuring the Development Bank of Southern Africa. Their Chief Internal Auditor, Boitumelo Mojapelo, will be in conversation with Bongani Bingwa. Join us every Wednesday as we highlight the efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. 702, let's walk the talk and make a difference together.
You are not dreaming. You are repeating. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
At ASE, we offer clear pathways into the sound and entertainment industry. Our one-year hire certificate prepares you for entry-level industry roles. Our 3-year diploma goes even deeper. It is a comprehensive program that develops advanced technical skills. We also offer industry-focused short courses. ASE is where you turn your passion into a successful career. Get in touch with us on ase.co.za or send us an email on info@ase.co.za.
You've taken your small business far. Nedbank and 702 can help you take it even further.
How important is it that a campaign like Nedbank Business Ignite recognizes not only entrepreneurs but people who solve problems?
It is important because being an entrepreneur can be a lonely journey. You go through a lot of challenges, and when you do have those victories, there's no one to recognize you. This competition definitely does that. And what we're doing differently this year, we actually decided to touch base with our past winners to find out what they've done since winning the competition. I mean, my mind was blown in terms of what these guys have achieved.
Nedbank Business Ignite with 702. Enter now on primemediaplus.com or igniteyourbusiness.co.za and you could win 200,000 Rand. T's and C's apply. See money differently. Nedbank, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
702.
Health and wellness.
9 minutes before 12 o'clock, we're in conversation this morning with Dr. Michael Moll about colds and flus and just helping you understand the art of staying well, because it's possible to stay well even during this time when you could be experiencing so much of whether it's the flus or the colds. But I want to know if this is something you're struggling with. Do you have questions? Do you want clarity on what to use, what not to do? Let's start with some calls now. Selma, you are in Roodepoort. Good morning.
That's correct. Yes, Clement. I just want to find out. I assume that when one gets flu and your muscles and everything aches, it obviously affects your muscles and so on. And as far as I know, the heart is a muscle. Now, is it safe to assume then that if people go and over-exercise when they've still got or starting the flu, like go to the Comrades this coming weekend, that they could then get a heart attack as a result of overtaxing the heart when it's already being affected by flu?
Great question. Thank you, Selma. Dr. Michael Moll?
Hey, Selma, it sounds like your husband is running the Comrades and you think he has a cold and shouldn't be running. Phoning for a friend, are you?
Yeah.
Selma, it's a great question. And flu, so let's talk flu and colds. Flu can directly infect heart muscles, causing something called myocarditis. It's basically inflammation of your heart. It's rare, but it's real. And it's one of the reasons flu can occasionally actually kill healthy young adults. I mean, chest pain, shortness of breath, all those kind of things. That's not just weakness from the flu. That could be muscle issues. So there is really a concern that if you are running something like the Comrades, that you're going to be taxing your heart, that you put your heart at risk. As a rule, you can train through a cold. Okay, now I'm talking a cold, not the flu, as long as you keep your heart rate moderate. It's actually good for you. So a little bit of exercise, a little bit of sweating when you have a cold, and we talk about head colds, in other words, above your chest and neck, that's fine. Keep training at moderate rates. I'm not sure whether you could run the Comrades with a cold, because that's not moderate. So can you see the gray area there? But generally, you don't need to. If you just got a cold, it's just a head cold, it's not into your chest, you don't need to stop exercising. On the contrary, you should keep exercising moderately and you'll shorten your duration and improve your immunity or bolster your immunity.
Yeah. Some WhatsApps on 072-702-1702.
Hi, Clement and the doctor there. On the flu, I don't usually get the cold or a flu. I'll get a mild cold, but nothing severe. But this time I've had it more than once. But the first time I had tonsillitis and it came back again. So my question is, should I be considering removing my tonsils to prevent them from getting swollen when or if I get a flu? This is the first time in many years that I struggled with this. So I just want to know if it's a sign of something.
Yeah. Thank you. Dr. Michael Moll?
Yeah, Clement, I'm just going to change my title on my business card to that other doctor there. I think that was quite cool, actually. Clement and that other doctor there. You know. So maybe just a quick response. So tonsillitis, not cold and flu. Generally in an adult, if you're getting 3 bouts of tonsillitis in a year, we consider that a chronic tonsillitis, or, that's reason to have your tonsils removed. You really need to think about that, because as an adult, those tonsils they're grimy, they're stuck in the back of your throat. They weren't taken out as a kid. Go and see an ear, nose, and throat specialist. Let him do that assessment. But yes, if you're getting more than 3 tonsillitis infections in a year, it's time to have them removed.
Yeah. Here's another one.
Hi, Clement. Prince here from Kempton Park. I'd like to ask the doctor there. Hey, in my house, usually we've got this pattern of like when it gets cold or something, I stay with my wife and my kid. Always my wife comes first. She catches the flu first, then my kid. Then maybe I'll be the last one. But mostly myself, it doesn't stay a long time with me. Maybe one day I'm done. So sometimes it worries me. I don't know. It looks like a same pattern. What will be happening there?
All right, Dr. Michael Moore?
So, Prince, when it comes to colds and flus, sharing isn't caring. We know that. But we know that colds are caused by like 200 different viruses, and they're spread through droplets. In other words, if your wife has caught a cold from wherever and she comes home, the chances of you and your child getting it are very high because you live in an enclosed environment. It's winter, so we close the windows, we close the doors, and those viruses circulate in our homes, and everyone gets sick. The fact that it doesn't last long is great. It means you're catching a cold, not the flu, which is fine. I think in your instance, I would just make sure you're getting enough sleep, you're washing your hands regularly, making sure you're eating properly, exercising, managing your stress, and that improves your chances of not repeating that cycle. But while you talked about your child, Clement, can I just say something about children's immune systems? They are still learning. So they haven't encountered this full library of viruses that we as adults have. So they are going to get sick more often. In fact, a kid in creche can get 6 to 8 infections a year, and that's within the normal range. But for parents who are listening, there are things you want to watch out in your kids. So Prince, if your child, I'm not sure how old your child is, but let's say you have a child under 2 or even under 6 months, the flu carries a very high complication risk in those children. So when your child has a really high fever or difficulty in breathing or is just lethargic, you can have a child with a high fever who's active and running around and happy, and a child with a moderately high fever who's just doesn't want to feed, doesn't want to eat, and is just lethargic. That prompts medical attention. Please don't wait and see if he or she gets better. Go and see a doctor. All right, really key. So it's that high fever, it's that difficulty in breathing, that chest pain. That's what you want to look out for. And don't go and ask for antibiotics. Just go and see a doctor. There's this thing with parents putting pressure on doctors. Don't do that. Go and see a doctor if you see those red flags, we call them.
Dr. Michael Moore, thank you so much for joining us. He's a longevity physician and host of the Health Matters podcast. Now, the moments we remember most are often the ones we share with loved ones, right? Whether it's everyday routines or special occasions, seasonal illness can get in the way. Understanding symptoms, supporting recovery, and knowing when to seek professional advice can help families navigate this season with confidence, because life's important moments are meant to be shared together through every season. The groundbreaking musical Nkoli, A Fierce and Fabulous Life, returns to the UJ Theatre on the Kingsway campus in Auckland Park this weekend. Nkoli celebrates the life of Simon Nkoli, who was an anti-apartheid activist, LGBTQI+ pioneer, AIDS activist, and organizer of Joburg's first Pride March. Nkoli explodes on the stage, combining voguing, dance, rap, and video projections. It's the powerful story of a remarkable young freedom fighter who changed South African history. There are 3 performances only this weekend of Nkoli at UJ's theatre before it heads to Germany for its European premiere. Nkoli tickets are available on Quicket.
Gabelo's the go-to guy for renovations. His bakkie is full of tools, ready to build dreams. But one day, a reckless driver takes him out. Now, his bakkie is standing still. No wheels, no money, Kabza. Oh. But with budget, he'd be back on site faster than you can say DIY. Don't let expensive days stop your hustle. Visit budgetinsurance.co.za for a business insurance quote today. Budget is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
What if the one thing the company throws away becomes another company's big opportunity? This Thursday, catch this show live from the Gauteng Industrial Symbiosis Program Business Opportunity Workshop hosted by the National Cleaner Production Center. Discover how businesses are turning underutilized resources into new economic opportunities, creating partnerships and driving green growth across Gauteng. Don't miss it. Brought to you by the Gauteng Department of Environment on 702.
Coming up
on the Midday Report.
Good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon now, I believe.
Oh, it's actually afternoon. What's popping
Time
on the
flies.
midday report today?
Kenny Kaneni, Julius Malema, that case has been struck off the roll. We're going to find out what happened there. It's all about Julius Malema today. We're going to be talking about his relationship with Feroz Khan and some good news. South Africa's economy grew by 0.5%. But is that enough? I don't think so.
Yep, that and a lot more on the midday report with Jane Dutton in from Indiwena. Thank you for listening to the Tuesday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. Let's chat again tomorrow between 9 and 12. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. South Africa's economy has recorded an increase of 0.5% in the first quarter of this year. This is according to the latest GDP figures released by Stats SA this morning. Agriculture and finance